Mic check. It's a microphone check. Mic check. Good morning. Happy Thursday, everybody, wherever you are, however you may be listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. Internet seems to be working, so we'll see how long that lasts. It was awful yesterday, in and out until about 7 o'clock last night. I do have a technician coming out to check, because for whatever reason, it's only the building that I'm in. Every other building where I live is just fine. So we do have a technician coming out today. Hopefully it works out. But sorry I missed you all yesterday. And for those, in and out, get it together, Sarah. Those of you waiting on the watermelon video, that'll be out this weekend. It will be different than any of the other ones you've seen because I am uncomfortable and I need to edit some stuff and turn it a little bit more silly than maybe you would have expected. So that'll be out either Sunday or Monday morning before the live starts. So we'll have that. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning.
It's a video sponsored by Bluetooth. No, those fuckers won't get back to me. They never give me any money. On Memorial Day. It's Monday. Monday's Memorial Day.
You have an idea for it, so.
Well, I have some of it filmed already. Some of it is filmed.
Got it.
So yes, I do have an idea, and I just can't. I can't do thirst traps. I have no ability to do it.
So,
I did.
So I told.
Oh, go ahead.
I told Spawn about it. We watched I showed her some of the beginning of the show when we discussed it that day, and she told me to tell you that maybe you should you could use an orange. Like if she wanted me to mention that to you, if you want to use an orange, if the watermelon was too tricky.
I will be using my thighs. I told Jen I'm very nervous about that part. On Tuesday after the show, I went to the trampoline park with my daughter, and they have like these like inflated, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like part of an obstacle course, and one of the inflated parts it was not very inflated, so I hit that and twisted my knee, and my knee really hurts. So I just want you to know it's going to be extremely painful for me to do this, and I'm going to do it anyway. So otherwise,
So,
I know there'd be a full revolt.
So I didn't word exactly what she said, right? So what she said is tell Jay to do an orange, and then it will look like a good pumpkin compared to you. That's what she said.
She called me small?
Yeah, I think so.
Damn. Well, tell her that I'm going to start pushing you to go on more dates. Take that.
Yeah. She likes.
I'm going to get her a babysitter.
She likes to throw a little shade, and then she ends up getting her feelings hurt.
That's not fair. It's not fair when you shit talk younger kids. They get their feelings hurt. And when I get my feelings hurt and cry, nobody cares. They all just call me a pussy. So very unfair rule that we have. Yeah, I'm with you, TDK. If Democrats finally release the autopsy, I haven't read it yet. There's a Bulwark article that we're going to read here in just a second over like the 3 big bullet points, but I haven't read it entirely yet. Jen, any dating updates?
I'm just chatting. I don't have anything currently scheduled for dates, but there's there has been questions, so I'm sure I'll have a date sometime this week, but there's nothing currently scheduled.
They're really waiting last minute.
Well, I mean, I can figure out. It's just I don't necessarily want to just go out with anyone. I want to see if someone has possibly potential, because I don't get a ton of free time, so I want to make sure that it's worth it.
So you're still interviewing this potential date this week? Like they're trying to go, but you're holding off?
Okay. They don't know it, but they've got to go through like the second and third interview first. So
you should just start having Spawn interview them, or me. I'll do it. Can I do it?
No.
What if we all collectively did it?
So this kind of made me want to barf a little. One of the men, his name is Jay.
I don't get it. Why would that make you barf? It sounds like a good guy to
because
me.
it's just, I mean, it might actually just disqualify him on principle alone. So,
Like he's
but we'll
just,
see.
yeah, too cool. It'd be intimidating. I get that.
Right, that's it.
Nicholas wants to know: are you dating to marry or just for fun?
I mean, the goal is I'd like to find someone that has long term potential, but um, I'm not. Um, I, it's tricky. I mean, trying to find time to. I gotta find someone I can want to go on a second date with first. So,
That's a good point. That's a good point. Somebody said I'm
so
catfishing using my own name. If I was, yeah, I would. I
that's
would mess that up.
no, definitely not.
How do you know I'm
So
not? How do
Kate,
you know it's not me catfishing?
because most of you wouldn't say some of the things
Is this the
people
idiot that
say.
keeps talking about like your eyes and how he can read your
No, that was
eyes?
a different guy. That was a different guy.
Is that guy
Yeah,
still in the
that was.
rotation?
Yeah, yeah. Another guy said I have kind eyes.
The fuck's that guy still in the
Um,
rotation? Did we read those? Those are so stupid.
no, we didn't read those.
Should we
Um,
read them?
do you still have? Do you have it?
I think so. Yeah, here it is. It's so stupid. He said, "You have very innocent eyes," which crazy. Um, Jen said, "You're adorable. Innocent isn't an adjective that most wouldn't use for me." He said, "Well, we can all be a little innocent from time to time." I just fucking hate this guy immediately. Like, stop reading somebody's eyes on a dating app. They're still pictures. Unless, did you send a video?
No, it's just pictures.
Okay.
And I
Uh,
try to be honest. I try to tell them that I'm not innocent.
he asked what adjectives people would use for you. You said direct, honest, and blunt. And he said, "I hate this guy so much. Those are all very good adjectives." That's stupid. That's why is he grading the adjectives and said, "The eyes tell a different story, a deeper
I,
one." And I almost threw
I
up.
don't know.
Yeah, shut the fuck up, dude. Have a personality. You're not you're not out here reading her fortune, you psychopath. That
I mean,
person's crazy. That guy
yeah.
sucks.
I just, it's funny. I mean, I laughed about it. Well, we'll see. Like I said, I have to, for me to actually want to go on a date with him, it has to take a minute. And so, I mean, there's been a variety of people who, wanted to message me, and it just doesn't go on beyond messaging. So we'll see what happens.
I've seen
But
some of those.
Casey wanted me to remind or ask for everybody. So Casey's trying to do you is going to be doing you a favor. She's going
Me?
through the poses for the calendar to pick out some to send over to you so you can get that done. Um, so she wanted to say there's not a ton of ideas. I mean, I know people have submitted some weird random shit, but we want to be able to send some poses that Jay can actually do and won't get all weird about. So
I'm not like taking my dick out. Can we be clear on that? There will be no I'm not going to be in lingerie. They're going to be normal. It's going to be not normal, but I don't do thirst traps. Crab walk. Jesus. I'll do a crab walk if I'm in a crab costume.
right.
You guys
So
know that I'm
so
going to
we
make this like the opposite of a thirst trap. No matter what you come up with, I'm going to make it the opposite of a thirst trap.
exactly. So if you guys want to message Casey, Travel Casey in Discord, or we have a channel under the community category
We
that's
do.
our TP calendar ideas. So if you have ideas for the calendar, um, post them in that particular channel, or send them to Casey.
What about short shorts or tight shorts? I wear short shorts anyways. Like I don't like shorts that are below my knees or anyway or touching my knees. So we're good on that. Tight shorts, no, absolutely not. Ty said, "How does one join the Proud Boys for the compensation fund?" And also, Jen, once you go black, you never, and then eyeballs. There you go.
Got it. Well, so I think that's it for all of the or for that part of the announcements, I guess, and get the show going in general. So welcome everybody. So Jay's got ideas for the watermelon video that should be coming out this weekend or Monday. And then, like I said earlier, if you've got calendar pose ideas for Jay, either send them to Casey, Travel Casey, or post them in the RTP Calendar Ideas channel.
Perfect.
We've got a gift goal to hit since, Jay, a lot of people like to say that you like to skip days just because, and that your Wi-Fi wasn't actually, or your internet wasn't actually working. But
I want to call out everybody and say for the unequivocally for the millionth time, I do not rely on Wi-Fi. My computer is not connected to Wi-Fi. It is a direct fucking line. So we can clear that one up. And secondly, that's crazy. Those days when there's no internet are terrible for me. I have ADHD. What do I do with 4 hours of time where there's nothing on the schedule? It's terrible. It's code for golf. And the golf course was closed down. There's a professional golf tournament there. I did not golf. I can tell you, I went and I walked to the store. I got a watermelon. I cleaned my house, and I got rid of a bunch of shit. And then I'm going to reorganize where I'm at now and move this desk over that way. So that's what we did. And I made some food and meal prepped for the rest of the week. That's what we did.
Yep. So anyway, so we've got a gift goal.
One last thing. One last
Yep.
thing on this. It takes it takes very high speed internet, both upload and download, to use Streamlabs. So like I can't use a hotspot from my phone. I can't use Wi-Fi. Like it doesn't even work on Wi-Fi. If we try and run Wi-Fi, it's too intermittent. Using Streamlabs requires like a really steady connection, and it has to be high download and upload speeds. It's not like TikTok where you can just turn on your phone, and if your internet goes out, you can use your data. It just doesn't work that way. All right, there we go.
Yeah, and then also fun fact for everybody: the outline. If he doesn't have internet in the morning to work on the outline, then we won't have anything to talk about. So there's that too. But anyways, so gift goal, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal are preferable. Pay links to hit up. Super chats work as well. If you're not already a subscriber on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. And additionally, if you want to join us for members only events, become a paid member or subscriber on either of the platforms. And so you can join us for members only events. We have one coming up next week. We're going to watch the rest of Company Retreat. And then that's always a fun, good time. So if you guys can join, if you're a paid member, you can join us for those. If you're in opposition to RTP and you'd like to come up and talk to them, how you can do that, send me a message on Discord. My Discord username is the same as the Venmo. So it's Jen with 2 N's, double 2 B's, the number 1. Just send me a message over there and I can bring you on. Check out the link tree in the bio on most social media platforms. We've got merch, G's on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify. What do you call a bird?
I thought you cut out. There was just that sound. So I thought your internet died. There you go.
No, I was trying to decide which one. What do you call a bird with back cough?
A bird with back cough?
A bad cough.
Bad cough. That makes substantially more sense. I don't know.
A flamingo.
Thank you. Somebody said you didn't know I had tattoos. I do. I'll cover this. I'll cover it up. But I only have 2 tattoos. I do have tattoos. How do I turn this arm? They're like it's weird. It's like backwards. Those are my 2 tattoos. This is my daughter's name, which is why I'm covering it up. And this is a llama. Every year on my birthday, my daughter draws a tattoo, and then I get it tattooed on my arm for my birthday. So those are the 2 tattoos that I have. And there will be a new one in November, and then there hopefully will be. I started it. She's 6, so what's that? 4 minus. Yeah, so there'll be 14 by the time she's 18, and I don't know if she'll keep going with it, but those are the ones. Mormons can have tattoos. Mormons are such fucking bullshit right now. Do we have any Mormons here that are like actively Mormon? You guys fucking suck now. You couldn't have tattoos. You couldn't drink coffee. Like women couldn't wear tank tops. They're just changing all the rules now. That like everybody's leaving the Mormon church. Now they all have tattoos. They all do psychedelics. They all drink coffee, and they're just like, we just pretend it's not the rules anymore. So All right, let's get started here with everybody's favorite pollster, Harry Enton. Shit, where's my screen? My brain is fucking fried today. Sorry in advance. I'm gonna do my best. Let's talk about some polling coming out of Texas.
At the numbers. They are looking at the numbers, and the idea that Democrats can't win in Texas, I want to put that to rest. They could very well do it. James Tallarico could very well win in Texas. And I want to use a comparison point with 2018 because there was all this talk about Beto O'Rourke, right? Oh, could he beat Ted Cruz? He could beat Ted Cruz. The numbers at this point in that campaign, simply put, did not support that conclusion. But the numbers at this point absolutely support the conclusion that James Tallarico can win. So take a look. Texas Senate polls in May of the election year. When you matched up Beto O'Rourke versus Ted Cruz was up by 7 points. He was clearly ahead. But look at the polling average now when you max up Ken Paxton versus James Tallarico. It's actually Tallarico that's ahead by 4 points. And Johnny B., I was looking back at every single Texas Senate race that I could find, and at this point in the campaign, James Tallarico is polling better than any Democrat in at least 24 years. You have to go.
He's tricky. Well, muted. He's tricky. He confuses Republicans because he looks and talks like a Republican, and he talks about Jesus a lot. I think he's just tricking all the Republicans in Texas. Joy said, what do police hotlines and glory holes have in common? They both rely on anonymous tips. Thank you, Joy.
All the way back to 2002 to find a Democrat even polling anywhere close to where Tallarico is polling right now. Texas, Democrats have dreamt about.
Why do you say that? What do you mean I don't believe polls? Why does nobody believe polls? That's a weird thing to say. Like, they're just polls. It's the people who were there that answered the phone, and they polled those people, and that's what it is. They're just polls. It's not a prediction. But if you get enough polls and you run enough polls and Tallarico keeps coming out on top, then that's a good indicator that people are leaning Tallarico.
Turning it blue. This time, the numbers actually support the idea that they may actually be able to do it.
I have to say, this is a difference that I have not seen before and I was not aware of. And a lot of people are making the comparison to 2018. One of the reasons is that Ken Paxton, if he's a nominee, not a super popular nominee. And people are like, oh, well, Ted Cruz as an incumbent senator, he wasn't that popular either. So what's the difference between Cruz and Ken Paxton?
Yeah, I don't know what there's something about Ken Paxton with his wife. Like, his ex-wife now is out like campaigning against him. Does anybody know what that accusation is? Damien, thanks for joining the Dollar Train. I appreciate that. I don't know what the accusation is, but there's something with his ex-wife, and I think it might have been Lauren Boebert that said something about it. Who, by the way, I'm not going to cover this probably, but now there's a story that Lauren Boebert and Thomas Massie hooked up, which is kind of crazy.
The idea
adultery. Okay. Polls said Kamala would win. No, they didn't. But they were almost all in the margin of error, and Trump was winning in most of the polls leading up to the election. So, like, that's just a lie that you've been told over and over. If you want to look at it, I'll pull it up here while this is playing. But the polls actually said Trump was going to win, and they did.
that Ted Cruz was not that popular, that's a falsehood. That is simply put a falsehood. You go back. Again, just look at these differences right here. Okay, Texas GOP candidate net favorability. Ted Cruz's net favorability was actually plus 7 points in my average polls. Look where Ken Paxton is. The complete inverse of that. He's 7 points underwater. So look, again, you just look at the numbers. In 2018, Democrats had this dream of turning Texas blue. The numbers didn't support it in large part because Ted Cruz was actually decently popular. But Ken Paxton is anything but. In poll after poll after poll, he is underwater. No wonder Republican senators are running scared, especially after that Trump endorsement of Paxton yesterday.
How's the president doing in Texas?
Okay, that's the other part of this equation, right? All politics at this point funnel down from up top and then drop down to the state level. And you can just see it right here. Okay, back in May 2018, Trump's net popularity in Texas, he was at plus 4 points. He was above Wood. Again, we're looking at the inverse of that. Trump is considerably less popular in Texas, which of course matches what.
For those of you saying that, like, it's Republicans will never lose in Texas, maybe not. But the other thing that we're not talking about here is that John Cornyn was ahead of Tallarico. This isn't about Republicans versus Democrats. This isn't about, are the Republicans more popular than the Democrats? This is about how unpopular Ken Paxton is. Because Cornyn was leading Tallarico within the margin of error, but in basically every poll, John Cornyn was ahead of James Tallarico. And Trump endorsed the candidate that is behind in the polls. Trump has a very, very good track record of endorsing people in GOP primaries and those people winning the GOP primary. It's a really mixed bag when it comes to contested elections. And there's no question that Ken Paxton was the worst of the two candidates. If you have undecided voters, or if you have like moderate Republicans who are iffy on Trump, independent voters, this was a bad choice for a general election.
We're seeing nationally, which is that Donald Trump is less popular now than he was at this point in term one. You put it all together. You look at the general election polls. You look at the popularity of the potential Republican candidates that'll be running for Texas Senate. You look at Donald Trump's popularity as well, and you go, okay, Texas is absolutely in play. Does that mean that Democrats will finally win their first Senate race since 1988 in Lloyd Bentsen? I'm not saying that, but it is a real possibility.
What you are saying is 2026 is different than 2018.
It is different than every campaign that I have been around for.
Harry, and thank you very much.
Thank
Well
you.
done, Harry. Sorry I missed that one earlier. Swish said, where did we land on short shorts and roller skates? I have not obtained any roller skates. If I obtain some roller skates, I might be able to do it. We'll see. I might be able to I might be able to fit that in the video. Lindsay said, Jay failing to show his tattoos is very upsetting. What are we doing? All right, let me just, it's hard to see. That's the llama tattoo. Hard to see. It's backwards. There we go. Those are the tattoos. We good? Sorry about that. Thank you for taking that answer, Madeline. I saw, like, why is gerrymandering racist? That's a good point. Not all gerrymandering is racist. Gerrymandering can just be gerrymandering. But if you gerrymander for the purpose of taking away the voting power of black communities, then it can be racist. Good answer. You got terrible artists. Dude, she's 5, man. You call my daughter a terrible tattoo artist? These are her drawings. What's my handicap? I don't know what it is right now. It's like a 1 point something. It was scratched for a long time, and then I did this show and became broke, and so now I don't golf as much. But I think it's like a 1.2, something like that. All right, here's the autopsy report, or a breakdown of the 3 main points from the autopsy report. Admittedly, I haven't had time to read all of it, but this was from the Bulwark. This was Rob Flaherty, who works for the DNC. And here's the 3 main takeaways that they say we should take from the DNC autopsy report. Part 1, what happened? You have to have a brand, and Democrats didn't. So my biggest lesson from the 2024 election is that tactics don't add up to a brand. And a brand is the most important thing in politics today. Without a brand that people genuinely feel is connected to your candidate's deeply held beliefs, your tactics will add up to nothing. You'll reach people but won't close the deal. I hate this kind of like political speech, but it is correct. And it's not a brand in the way that I think some Democrats understand it. I've referenced this call before, but Steve and I were on a call where it was actually with a group called Branding Democrats. And they were talking about how the brand for these upcoming elections should be affordability. And Steve and I were both like, okay, but are you going to do something about affordability? Or are you just going to ask us to go out there and be like, Democrats want to push affordability? And then both Steve and I were like, we're not going to do this shit. And so we left. And I haven't been contacted by them so far or since then. I do like the people that run Branding Democrats, for the record. I've been on their podcast a few times. They are very good people. I don't think that there's a brand available for Democrats right now. People often think of a campaign's brand as visual, the logo, for instance, but really it's the story of why the candidate got into the race. That the why is critical, and we couldn't clearly articulate it. That makes sense, right? Like, why did Kamala Harris get into the race? Because she was the vice president. Anything else that they tried to put forward wasn't going to work. I don't know that you could have changed that from 2024. I've no idea how you would have tried to rebrand that any differently. Like, that's just reality. That's why she was the candidate. She wasn't going to win in a primary. Am I part of his Do Something tour? I'm not. I don't know much about Steve's Do Something tour. If there's a way for me to contribute, I would love to. I think Steve's one of the best people that I've ever met in my life. And I hope you guys support his Do Something tour. But he has not talked to me about that. He and I have not talked about anything along those lines. So I'm not even sure what the tour is. Is he going to a bunch of different states? I know he's raising money. I have no idea. He has donor links and Linktree. We lost. Yeah, I'm not sure what is he doing. Is he going to go to multiple states? Is that the plan? Is he holding like town halls or something? Understand? Yeah, I don't know much about it. I should talk to Steve. So if Steve's here, tell him, Steve, let's talk about it. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Our research showed that we were reaching the voters we needed to reach, and that they even liked our specific outreach. Our ads tested well, and we started to win on underlying issue, but something bigger wasn't telling. It wasn't just us. Incumbents around the world were getting absolutely croaked. Labor's honeymoon in the UK lasts about 12 seconds. We underestimated then and are underestimating now just how disillusioned people are. I think that's correct. There was and is a pervasive sense that nothing works and the institutions holding us up have failed. Media, government, business, no one trusts anyone anymore. For reasons both of Democrats' own making and from simply being incumbents, the Democratic brand sucked. I don't even like saying that they're the incumbents. Because I don't think simply being incumbents matter, because there were a lot of incumbents that then lost to moderates. Think of the money that flooded in for Cory Bush's race in those primaries. It wasn't just the incumbents. It's that anybody in the DNC who was trying to create a brand and who was running on this idea that the media, the government, and Democrat policymakers had failed us, they all kind of got ran out. It was the genocide in the economy, but they refused to say, yeah, it is right. It is that, and we'll see if they get there. That's basically that one. Paid and organic brands need to align. Throughout the campaign, there was a disconnect between what people were hearing from us and about us in earned and organic media and what we were saying in paid media. Online in advance, the campaign came to be freedom and brat girl summer. Most of that happened organically. People latched onto those frames and they stuck. I think you could probably add in like the white guys for Harris. That seemed organic, but again, like, there wasn't a lot of substance to that. I will say, I went to one rally, and I don't like political rallies, but I thought that the rally here in Phoenix, I guess I went to two. I thought the rally here in Phoenix was really good. I thought Harris was a larger-than-life presence. I was really surprised in person how much better she was than on camera. She wasn't great on camera. She wasn't great in these staged media interviews, but in person, she was really good, and Tim Walz was incredible. And I can tell you that crowd loved it. It was a very different crowd than I'd seen before in Biden rallies. Very different than Trump rallies. Trump rallies are far more angry. Different than anything I'd ever experienced with Romney rallies. It wasn't as good as Obama, but there was something there. And I think that largely Harris needed to come off as more personable, and she didn't do a great job with that. Because I was too hopeful about the DNC being honest about where they came up short. Yeah. Bambi, I'm sorry that we missed you yesterday. Bambi, we're criticizing the DNC right now. Do you understand what we're doing right now? Like, I don't get you. I think that you have I think maybe perhaps you have a sad life. But right now what we're currently doing is criticizing the DNC. Is this what you think the DNC trotted out for me today? That the DNC wanted me to come criticize them, how they didn't do anything. That's what we're talking about. In the long run, I don't know if I was right either. Either way, my side lost the internal debate. After David Axelrod panned the spot as base mobilization on an episode of Hacks on Tap, we moved on from using it in paid media. Yeah, I think those were dumb. I think Freedom and Brat Girl Summer were dumb. I do think that I also don't know that this is. Maybe we have a different perspective because where we exist. But to me, going through that, I thought that the main messaging was that Donald Trump was a fascist and Project 2025. And I think that the Harris campaign potentially could have latched onto that stuff. Because if you just say Project 2025, nobody knows what you're talking about. But there was no real effort to go in depth on what Project 2025 was and how it was linked to the Trump campaign. It was so broad, and we went on, I think they wanted to create their own identity. Sometimes you have to recognize what your winning strategy is. And the winning strategy should have been Donald Trump is incredibly corrupt. Incredibly corrupt. Those of us that were digging into that, we saw how corrupt they were. We knew how corrupt they were going to be. And they're somehow worse. They're somehow a more corrupt administration than we thought. Like, I thought the corruption would be in terms of like just rolling back protections for people, but it's been on top of that. It's also been just like full on deep state military industrial complex, gift after gift after gift to the billionaire class. I think that they should have latched onto that better, because what was Kamala Harris going to run on? She's going to run on Biden's record. Biden did some good things, but the general public's not going to understand where that 9% inflation came from. They're not gonna they're gonna blame the president. That's just the reality of American politics. Whatever inflation is, you're gonna blame the president. So when it hit 9%, any economist and anybody who understands it at all understands that was due to COVID and global infrastructure. But that's hard to explain. So I think that they spent way too much time trying to protect Biden's record. I think Kamala should have distanced herself immediately from Biden's record, and they should have went on the attack with Trump. And then there should have been some sort of policy that would have gotten people excited. It's very true. It's very clear now at this point that what they should have done is they should have went hard in the paint against Israel. They should have went hard in the paint against the genocide happening in Palestine. That was a popular message then, and it's even more popular now. I almost said she was, yeah, cool, Bambi, cool. Yeah, I don't know if they're right about that. I don't. This is just This is just like political science bullshit. Joe Rogan in the battle for attention. I don't even believe this one. I don't believe the Joe Rogan thing mattered that much. I think what mattered is that whether you like it or not, Donald Trump came off more personable in those interviews. He came off more open. He was lying about everything, but he came off more like he was willing to answer questions, and he did it in a way that appeared to the audience to be more transparent. And it kind of was, because he's an idiot, right? Like he's kind of an idiot, and he says what he says whatever he wants to say, but it's so convoluted that you're then able to kind of like spin it. I do think that that's probably correct. I don't believe we would have won with more time. The switch from Biden to Harris in July shook up the race, but things eventually reverted to the mean. In each of the first few weeks, we had big ticket events that let us dominate the conversation and consolidate soft Democratic voters. The switch to Harris, the announcement of Tim Walz, the convention in Chicago, the Harris-Trump debate, and then nothing. It was 2 months of scrapping, for attention against the single best attention getter in the history of politics. I agree with that. I do want to point out to the Trump supporters here, Donald Trump is a big fucking pussy. And Donald Trump refused to, if we remember this, he refused to debate Harris more than once. Just like, I'm not going to do this anymore. Because that debate did not go well for Trump. Trump had his vaunted podcast strategy, but polling pre-election actually indicated that more voters saw Harris on a podcast than Trump. It makes sense. His strategy was to talk to one audience a lot for reasons that had mostly to do with the limits on the candidate's time. We shot for big interviews that reached a series of different audiences, i.e. All the Smoke and Call Her Daddy. I don't even remember her All the Smoke interview. I didn't remember she did an All the Smoke interview. That's with Steven Jackson and what's that dude's name? You can see his face. What's the other guy's name on All the Smoke? He's kind of the main guy. He's the one that pump faked in Kobe's face. I love Republicans unable to right now like process any of this. Kamala lost. Yeah, we know. Kamala picked the world VP. It's supposed to say worst. Matt Barnes, thank you. I thought Harris was a good candidate. Or excuse me, Walz. I thought Walz was a good VP candidate. I might be backwards on that. Might be wrong. I'd like to see the polling there. Yeah, the trans ad was about our applied brand. I don't care about that. There was I guess there was the ad that was like, Trump put out like Kamala Harris is for they, them. Donald Trump is for you. Said, first I want to clear up a basis factual issue. The trans ad from October 2024 was not the Trump campaign's most effective ad. According to our data, that was the ad from July 2024 with clips of Harris saying Bidenomics is working. But the brilliance of the Trump team's ad strategy was that everything was a proof point that leveled up to a core narrative. She cares about liberal shit, not you. Her position on immigration, she's focused on the wrong thing. Harris talking about trans prisoners, focused on the wrong thing. Says Bidenomics is working, focused on the wrong stuff. It was brands, not messages. I agree with that. I think that's a good take. I do think that just like even debating, we got pushed into constantly and consistently defending positions that most Americans weren't really interested in getting into the weeds about. And we focused a lot of time on those issues. And there was no economic strategy. There was no economic policy that at least I could get excited for. There was no policy on healthcare that I could get excited for. In fact, I don't know off the top of my head, and help me out. Is there something looking back that you think we should have been excited for, like a policy that Harris was running on that we should have been excited for? Do I wish Waltz was our VP? Yeah, literally. I've said this before. Like, I would vote for 2 rocks over Donald Trump and JD Vance. Yeah, I like Tim Walz. I don't understand the hate for Tim Walz. I've never understood it. I think it's mostly pathetic. It was like stolen valor, which was bullshit. It was like he cares about trans people, which good. He's a good governor. The people of his state like him. He would have been a better VP choice, maybe. I mean, I don't think that the VP choice had that much to do with it. Honestly, MAGA doesn't like that Waltz cares about women. He let his state run rampant with fraud. No, he didn't, Bambi. Shut up. God damn, you're dumb. Holy fucking shit. I'm so tired of you. I don't know if I have the patience for Bambi today. I don't know how you can be wrong about fucking everything, but you show up every day and figure out a way to be wrong about everything. Ty said, so it's Biden's fault. Should have dropped out earlier. That's true. That's true. Biden should have definitely dropped out earlier. I agree with that. He should have allowed a prime. He said he was going to do it. I think that's the other part, is he was like, I'm just going to be a bridge candidate. When he ran, I think maybe we forget this, he said he was going to do 1 term. He should have done that. He should have just been a lame duck president and allow the Democrats to run primaries and run against him. Who cares? Who cares if they're criticizing him in primaries? I think that would have given the Democrats some validity with undecided voters. We should have heard from people that were like, hey, I don't like that we're supporting Israel. I think that there's a genocide happening in Palestine, and that should have been on the debate stage. It's looking back, it was a massive miscalculation. You can call it arrogance on Joe Biden's fault. Maybe he listened to his advisors that said it's got to be you. But yeah, he should have been a 1-term lame duck president who didn't give a fuck about polling at all, and then just allow the Democrats that are running to criticize you. That was the hardest part that Harris was going to have to overcome, is that she was going to have to own every one of Joe Biden's mistakes. She was going to have to own that economy. And she also was currently serving as the vice president. So like being adversarial to Biden was going to be hard, especially because leading up until July, when he dropped out, she had to be there and be the cheerleader. I think that it was a massive disservice done to her. However, again, I don't think she would have won the primary. I just don't think she's that popular. I don't think she's that inspiring for Democrats. I think she's a little bit on the fence too much on too many issues. Going from 2019 Kamala Harris to 2024 Kamala Harris, it's clear that she slid back towards the middle. And maybe that's just because she was part of the Biden administration and she was forced to do that. Or maybe that's really where her positions went. But it was hard to defend the Kamala Harris that ran in 2019 on more aggressive ways to defund police, criminal justice reform, even marijuana. Like it was hard to defend those, admittedly, as somebody who was debating during that time. Proud Atheist said, this is dumb. Trump won because he lied and promised shit he was never going to do and gave people something to blame for their problems. Yes, but also there was no good counter argument. I think you're right there, but there wasn't an effective counter argument. And that's what you have to look at in these campaigns. Trump was going to lie. Everybody knew Trump was going to lie. So you needed to be able to run in a way that you could combat those lies or offer something that was better than the lies he was giving out. And I just think it was she was handcuffed, whether she was going to be good or not. I don't think we'll ever really know what her opinions were, because I don't think she was able to run on her own agenda. Revolutionary times we're in. I like that. Yeah, I'm with you, Chris. Running against the administration you're part of it's a dump. I think you meant dumb there. It's way more simple than that. Trump won because he stole the election. Maybe. I've got some election stuff I'm working through right now. There's some accusations in the Massie race. I haven't looked into it. I saw a claim this morning that there were like 104,000 new votes that they'd never had there before. So I don't know if that's true or not. I just saw it, so I've got to dive into it later. Nothing is harder than voters defending Trump over Harris, no matter how badly she did. What do you mean by that? Elon Musk cheated. Well, yeah, Ashley St. Clair saying that. We'll have all that tomorrow. I wanted to wait and get through all of Ashley St. Clair's claims. She did a Get Ready With Me, which I hope we don't have to watch. Hopefully I can just clip it enough and get her claims, because I don't want to watch somebody do makeup for 7 minutes while explaining politics. But everybody can pay me a little bit of attention. I don't think it would have mattered. The media spent more time watching closed courtroom doors than talking about actual news. There was a lot of that, yeah. Massie should run as an independent in Kentucky. I don't know if he's allowed to. Kentucky has, I believe, somebody can correct me, but they have, it's like just generally called like a sore losers law, where if you lose in the primary, you can't then go run as an independent in that same race. I don't think he can run. But I'd have to look into the details of that sore loser law. Do they have that there? Day Resi? He can't run? Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. All right. Let's talk about that a little bit here. I'm going to go to, this is from CBS, and this is Mike Johnson. This is tough for Republicans. I think even the Republicans here, we all agree that Thomas Massie lost because he went against Trump, right? That's what we agree. Jay hating on women again this week. Do we have Republicans here? That's why he lost, right? Can we all just admit that? Can we not pretend that it had anything to do with Thomas Massie, who wins every time with he hasn't changed his politics a bit. He lost because he went against Trump specifically about the Epstein files. Does anybody deny that? Is there anybody here who doesn't think that's why Massie, why they primaried Massie? All right. Well, Mike Johnson's going to lie about it.
With Massie's defeat yesterday, Cassidy over the weekend, possibly John Cornyn next week, is the message for Republicans that you have to be in lockstep with the president or you will face defeat? And also, given the amount of money that was spent in Kentucky, that is likely going to be spent in Texas and elsewhere, is that a wise choice to use all that money against Republicans when you have such a fraught battle for the House?
The message is that we're advancing America's first agenda, the America First agenda. It's about bringing the country back. And America is back. And that's because we've been running an agenda, again, based on common sense.
What do we mean by that, Mike? What do you mean America is back? We're talking about Iraq war? America? Are we talking about 2007 America? This does feel like 2007 America. We're engaged in wars that make no fucking sense. We're spending too much. Everybody who knows anything is aware that our economy is in a bubble and on the verge of a massive AI bubble. Did you know 50% of data centers have been halted? 50% of all data center projects have been halted. There's no scenario where these massive tech companies, these AI companies, are going to be able to return any sort of money to their investors. I guess if we're back to that, sure.
That achieves so many of those things I just said and more. We need people here who understand that, who are not.
I appreciate that, Maverick said. I'll be honest, Massie and Cornyn is about getting in line or else. Yeah.
Trying to carve out their own lane and do something that's destructive or counterproductive, I think, to the agenda. And that's what's happened. I mean, that's the message. We have gone out very careful with candidate recruitment to recruit patriots, people who are selfless.
Talman said, I'm sorry, Jay, I didn't know those were tattoos from your daughter's drawings. Sorry, that's okay. If that was my tattoo artist drawing a llama, you just missed that part. That's totally fine. Put my calendar ID in Discord, but I want the chat's opinion. Full Monty holding a Blue Chew package over your package. I know you said no PP pics, but technically you're not. Sorry, my mind's always in the gutter. No, I will be fully clothed for the calendar. That's crazy.
Many veterans who are coming in to serve. people who have been accomplished in their community, done things selflessly, servant leadership in their community. They've been accomplished state legislators or local legislators, and accomplished business persons. We have an incredible array of people. The one thing they all have in common, they're not monolithic. They don't agree on every issue, but they believe in the core principles of our party. What is the Republican Party? What is American conservatism? What is the Republican Party? It's individual freedom.
Yeah, what is it? Before we get there, Bambi, what is the American Republican Party? Are you still here? Here's some attention. Or is Bambi muted by chance? I don't know. Bambi's not muted, or any Republican. What would you say like the ideals of the Republican Party is? Shane said, remind MAGA that Harris oversaw 70-plus Senate hearings on top of campaigning. Not only was she sitting in for the votes, she was also flying and campaigning everywhere. Good reminder. Do we have anybody? Individual freedom, yeah. No murdering babies. Well, tell that to the support of Palestine. Or, I mean, of Israel, excuse me, in Palestine. Tell that to the Iranians who are dead. Tell that to the like, I guess it's not murder, but what about all the children separated from their parents through deportations? Anybody? Yeah, I think I think this is a hard thing for you. I think this is a hard thing for MAGA to answer. Like, what do you stand for? Like the ideals, right? Don't just pick like names of bills, but what are the principles? Yeah, Bad Bambi is just like anti-democrat. Bambi. What are the ideals that you stand for? Significance of the passage of time. I don't know what that means. I like that. MAGA has slain every high horse Republicans have never tried to ride. I'll call. Yeah, call in. You know how to do it. I don't mute people when they call in. God, you're just crazy. Like, you're already a victim. I would do it, but I'm not going to do it because you'll mute me. No, you need to say stuff. If you want to engage in a real discussion, Bambi, I think everybody would be happy to hear you come up here and engage in a real discussion. But even now, we're having a problem because I'm asking you the ideals that you stand for, and you're already playing the victim. All right, well, here's what Mike Johnson says.
Party. What is the Republican Party? What is American conservatism? What is the Republican Party? It's individual freedom, limited government, the rule of law.
Just early, individual freedom, definitely attacks on individual freedoms. The rule of government, like limited government, the government is overreaching consistently. Rule of law, okay. How many fraudsters has Trump commuted their sentences of or pardoned them? January 6th, they're all getting bailed out and paid. Donald Trump, a convicted felon who lost all 3 court cases he was involved in before he became president. Like, rule of law, are we out of our fucking mind there?
Peace through strength, fiscal responsibility, free markets, and human dignity.
Peace through strength, okay, that just means pro-war. Fiscal responsibility, what are we talking about here? We're blowing up the budget. We're blowing up deficits. This is how easy it is to be a Republican. You just repeat dumb shit, like dumb talking points. And they're like, yeah, that's what we're doing for sure.
Responsibility, free markets, and human dignity.
Free markets? I mean, this is the opposite of free markets. It's crony capitalism. This president, it just got back from China. And who did he take with him? Not small business owners, not medium-sized business owners. He took the richest people in the country to go work out backdoor deals with Chinese manufacturers, and then they'll cut out loopholes for all of them so that they don't have to pay tariffs. This free markets? Insider trading by this president at levels we've never seen from any president. In fact, is there ever been a president like accused of insider trading with any sort of evidence? I don't even think so.
I don't ask much more of anybody, but you got to hold to the core principles that made us the greatest nation in the history of the world. I never ask anybody to violate a core principle, but you have to give up on some of your personal preferences sometimes.
Why does no one laugh when he says this shit? That's a good question. Hey, Tony, good to see you.
You're in a deliberative body and you have 434 colleagues, okay, other people. So that's the message. It's nothing more than that. The president has the strongest endorsement in the history of politics, as I mentioned. But we don't demand loyalty to the president. What I demand.
Yes, you do. Nobody believes that. There's nobody on either side of the aisle that believes that you don't have to be loyal to the president. Lindsay said, can you dress in all blue and just be the blue chew? That's a good idea. I like that.
And as Speaker of the House, is loyalty to our core principles, the principles of our party, which are the principles of America. And that's what we're standing for.
All right. So it's not, that's why Thomas Massie is gone, because he didn't believe in all those principles, apparently. Here is Ro Khanna, and I think it's chilling. It's been chilling to watch the response from not only Trump, not only the MAGA super PAC, but also the AIPAC operatives, who, as soon as Massie lost, they're all over the internet taking credit for this. If it's not a foreign lobbyist group, then why are they taking credit for this? If they don't have the power, like Mike Johnson says they don't, then why are they taking credit for this? I thought this was interesting from Ro Khanna. I think it's Pablo Reports that's following him here. Thank you, Colin, for the $20 super chat. And just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded. PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App are the preferred ways. Super chats are also acceptable. We do have a gift goal every single day that helps us maintain our livelihood and keep doing this show. So I appreciate you guys in advance.
When we took on the Epstein class, we knew we were making some very, very powerful enemies. In fact, today, one of the Israeli war room tweeted out, Ro Khanna is next.
What's your message?
That's crazy. It's one, crazy that there's something called the Israeli war room. Second, it's crazy that they have as much money as they have. And third, that they're just openly admitting that they are getting people removed from Congress for not supporting a different country. What are we doing? Republicans? We really need Israel lobby funding all these people? Are you guys really going to go down as the party that just like, yeah, we protected Epstein and we covered for genocide? That's how history will remember you. All these other things Trump did and has done, these executive orders, even like having low border crossings, history never remembers any of that shit. Oh, the gift goal is missing today. I forgot that I had it hidden. There we go. Thank you. History's not going to remember that. They're going to remember the genocide. And hopefully they remember that this is the election that finally got Americans to wake the fuck up and got money out of politics and reversed the horrific ruling from the Supreme Court that allowed these PACs and corporations to spend as much money as they wanted to influence politics. Hopefully that's what's remembered. But it's not going to be anything Trump did. Trump has done nothing that will be remembered, nothing good, I guess, that's going to be remembered long term.
To conservative or independent voters who, you know, are disheartened, discouraged about the result last night and who feel like the Republican Party has now been formally captured by the pro-Israel lobby.
It was a generational fight. Thomas won voters under 50.
Oh, shit, my camera.
He won voters by 30 points. But here's the bottom line. The old guard needs to go. The old guard needs to go in our party, needs to go in the Republican Party. And there's a home for voters who voted for Thomas Massie with the new Democratic Party, with a populist Democratic Party that's going to stand up against these foreign wars, stand up against the Epstein class, stand up against aid going to Israel, focus on jobs here at home.
Where is the outrage on the Republican side of the aisle, or even among some of the establishment Democrats, about the fact that a lobby for a certain special interest group could pour $20 million into a House race in northern Kentucky and wipe a congressman off the map who, like you said, overwhelmingly the working generation of voters in that district supported?
It's chilling. They did this to my friend Thomas Massie. They did this to my friend Jamal Bowman. They did this to Cori Bush, and they brag about it. There was an email this morning from AIPAC taking credit for ending Thomas's congressional career. But young voters have had it. And every time they do one of these things, it comes at a huge cost. Not just the cost of the $30 million they spent, the cost of further alienating young voters. They are going to form a movement. We are going to form a movement to change this country.
When I asked Congressman Massie about this before his race on Friday, I asked him, do you think this has anything to do with the ties that have been established?
Amber, you don't get to talk about George Soros until you address that his protege, Scott Bessent, his right-hand man for 30 years, Scott Bessent, is Trump's #1 economic advisor. You don't get to talk about George Soros when literally the man he trained to get in this position is in this position. No more George Soros discussion from you, please.
Or all of the flood of the pro-Israel money has anything to do with the ties that have been established between Jeffrey Epstein and Israeli intelligence. There's, John Paulson is one of the donors who poured a bunch of money into this race. He's on the Epstein Black Book. Do you think that there's any connection between the work that you guys did on Epstein and the pro-Israel money that flooded into his race and ultimately ended his career?
When we took on the Epstein class, we knew we were making some very, very powerful enemies. In fact, today, one of the Israeli war room tweeted out, Ro Khanna is next. So we knew that we were taking on powerful interests. But we did it because we believed in justice for survivors. We did it because we believe there needs to be one.
If I could just admit when Trump does something right, it makes you credible. Like what? What has Trump done that's right that I've never admitted? Give me an example, Robert. We'll see if I can be honest about that.
System of justice in America, and we're going to continue to fight for.
Is Israel connected to the Epstein stuff? No, for sure not. For sure not. Yeah, like if you've read any of the Epstein files, yes, deeply connected. There's solid evidence that Epstein was working with the former prime minister of Israel, telling him how to infiltrate these American companies and get put on the board where they would pay him millions of dollars. Yes. Just barely, like 3 months ago, an Israeli operative was caught in a sting here in the United States, trying to have sex with teenage boys. I think it was teenage boys. I might be wrong about that. And everybody that got caught in that sting is in jail except for one guy who is an Israeli operative, and he was just returned to Israel, and they're doing nothing about it. And we're not doing anything to try and even bring him back. Yeah, of course.
Human rights.
Okay. CBS is gross. I think we're going to take some more time to criticize some Democrats here. And these are the type of Democrats we need to get rid of. This is the takeout with Major Garrett. And you just tell me if this is Jackie Rosen. She's a Democrat from Nevada. And you just tell me if the things that she's claiming here are anti-Semitic or are they anti-Zionist, which is just like Nazism with a different target.
In Congressman Thomas Massie's concession speech last night, he made something that he thought was a joke about AIPAC. AIPAC is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee and its financial backing of his opponent, Ed Galrein's campaign. Listen.
I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrein in Tel Aviv.
Is that anti-Semitic? Knowing where his funding came from, is that anti-Semitic? That's a good joke. If anybody thinks that is anti-Semitic, could you explain it to me? Because I don't get it. I don't get how that's anti-Semitic. I'm looking there. BB would say it is. Well, yeah, of course BB would. And I think BB made a phone call to Jackie Rosen. Let's just see. Before I pull up, I didn't look this up. Jackie, let's look at Jackie Rosen's AIPAC money here. I bet I can find a graphic for it real quick. Is there anybody? We're electing U.S. congressmen, not members of the Knesset. Yeah, this is exactly what I expect. So this is who you're about to see. Democrat from Nevada, Jackie Rosen. Now, these are my Democrat talking points, right, Bambi? Me criticizing Jackie Rosen here. This has got to be the Democrats providing me this talking point.
Nevada Democratic Senator Jackie Rosen joins us now. She just introduced legislation with Republican Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma to strengthen federal efforts to fight anti-Semitism. Senator, I'm glad to have you with us. Evaluate what you just heard from Thomas Massie on your own personal anti-Semitism scale.
Well, I can tell you, first of all, thank you for having me, and thank you for highlighting this, because it doesn't matter whether the comments come from the left, the right, or the center. These are just subtle ways, dog whistles of anti-Semitism. We see it.
There's nothing subtle about what Massie said. He was claiming that Israel funded the person running against him, and that's why he said Tel Aviv. There's nothing subtle about that at all. It's also not anti-Semitic. It's not anti-Jewish. It's just a fact that Israel funded his opponent
every day. And what that does is give a permission structure.
She's Jewish. Her grandfather was killed in the Holocaust. Well, yeah, that sucks. She should probably recognize a violent fascist dictator. If her family has that history, she should probably recognize that type of behavior and see that there's not a big difference between Hitler and Netanyahu in terms of ideology and ethno-supremacy. They're both ethno-supremacists who justify the murder of people who are different than them based on this belief that they are supreme because of their heritage. They're the same.
For people to be more and more anti-Semitic, increase that hateful speech, and we see it turn to violence every single day. According to the ADL, over the last few years, particularly since October 7th, domestic violent extremism in the form of anti-Semitism has risen exponentially, part of the big reason for the bill that James Lankford and I introduced just yesterday.
How about Maureen Galindo, Texas 35th Congressional District? She is getting quite a bit of attention today, and there are some Democrats saying that she's being propped up by Republicans, but nevertheless, she said, among other things, that if she were to be elected to Congress, she would push for an ICE facility, quote, to be a prison for American Zionists.
All right. Now we got to take a switch the other way. I think Maureen Galindo is anti-Semitic. I think this is a Democrat who's gone way too far. Can we agree that Hamas is bad? I mean, sure. Can we agree that Hamas kills people? Yes. Can we agree that that's always bad? Yes. Do I think that morally Hamas has a greater reason to fight than Israel? Yes. Hamas is a resistance group. Do they do things that are what do we want to call them? Are they murderous sometimes? Yes. I agree that their actions on October 7th were disgusting, but on a moral level, like, are they worse than Israel? No. I'd probably say maybe better. I think that Hamas is responsible for far less damage than the state of Israel. Does BB fund Hamas? Also, yes.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't matter where it comes from. This is horrific speech. It should be condemned by everyone and propped up by no one. And so, again, I don't care left, right, or center. We cannot be part of supporting anyone with this hateful rhetoric, and certainly not our opposing parties. We have to call it out. Like I said, that's the reason James Lankford and I, on a bipartisan basis, over the last 7 years that I've been in Congress, have worked on so many things to be sure that we're protecting not just.
Amber, tell me about how many people has Hamas killed since you can include October 7th versus Israel. Go pull those numbers and come back to us. If I'm supposed to say that Hamas is evil because of what they did, which was an evil act, but then Israel commits that same act and they kill far more people, in what world would Israel be the moral superior? Thank you, Madeline. Israel just bombed Lebanon for like the millionth fucking time. Thank you, Nightcrawler, for all the gifted subs. I appreciate that.
Jewish communities, but religious communities across this country.
What about Chris Robb, who won the Congressional District primary in Pennsylvania's 3rd Congressional District last night? He's a critic of AIPAC and support for Israel financially, and he's hung out with Hassan Piker.
Every time I make a false claim, I give subs. Sorry, let me go back here. This shit needs to end. This is CBS. Just, I don't know much about Major Garrett, but Jesus Christ, the attacks on Hassan are really fucking old, and these are going to backfire. These aren't working. Everybody Hassan goes and campaigns for winds up winning. This is a bad move by people. Like, this is a bad move by Democrats to continuously go after Hassan Piker. This is bad for their careers. And also, he's just right. He's on the right side of this.
In his 3rd Congressional District last night, he's a critic of AIPAC and support for Israel financially, and he's hung out with Hassan Piker.
Oh, no.
Yeah, again, whoever you ask me about, it is all wrong. Hateful speech. It goes amongst, it just trickles out amongst into everything, everywhere. And I can tell my own personal stories of being a child, being called a dirty Jew, of being a senator. You don't want to hear the voicemails that come to my office. I've had someone in prison now who threatened to my office and threatened me to say they're going to finish the job that Hitler started. But instead of
So what? This is gross. They're asked about Hassan. She's not talking about Hassan. None of this is about Hassan. This is all about awful people who send you anti-Semitic messages. Probably Nazis, by the way. Hassan is an avowed anti-fascist. He stands morally opposed to Nazis and anti-Semites. He just doesn't like Zionists, which makes total fucking sense unless you're an ethno-supremacist, in which case it's confusing to you. Wait, aren't the people of Israel, aren't they ethnically superior?
backing down, we need to stand up and fight harder to protect not just the Jewish community for anti-Semitism, but Jews are just the canary in the coal mine. All forms of hate it's awful, it's unconscionable, and it should never be illuminated or supported.
And what your legislation would seek to do is protect college students, also Jewish centers of religious observance, and create an online tracking mechanism. What's about the online tracking mechanism you and Senator Langford want?
And so this is a coordinated federal response in 3 areas. Like you said, college campuses where our kids are getting it, our houses of worship, not just Jewish institutions. We saw, sadly, what happened in San Diego just a few days ago, the Islamic Center. This is all houses of worship and support our law enforcement to protect vulnerable communities. And the online platforms, we know that they can really foment hate. So what we're asking for, large platforms.
Yeah, there's a reason I'm not on TikTok. Has nothing to do with my politics, has everything to do with my criticism of Israel. Criticizing Israel is the #1 way to get canceled right now. They'll pull ads from you, they'll take away your account. This is, fuck AIPAC and fuck the $1.3 million Jackie Rosen got from AIPAC.
Platforms, more than 50 million people subscribed, that they will report to us what they're doing to track anti-Semitism, how they're stopping it, how they're stopping people from going down that rabbit hole where we protect free speech, but then when it turns to violence or inciting violence or going past, wanting to put people in internment camps, wanting to finish what Hitler started, you can go ahead and name that. That isn't protected speech. So we want to see what they're doing, have them report to us, and maybe that will be insightful of what the platforms have to do overall and what we may or may not be able to legislate.
Somebody, I don't remember who said it. Somebody's like, no American should be watching CBS. I mean, if you're watching CBS and you don't know that they are going to have a pro-Zionist slight to all their journalism, then here's your warning. They're gonna say what the Zionists want them to say. And somebody also asked, like, how does Israel have this much control? Like, it's not as simple as money. I think there's more reasons than just Donald Trump for why these Epstein files aren't released, and I think that we would find out a lot more about the way that Israel has captured our government through compromising video or blackmail. And then in some cases, it can just be like a little bit of cash and a dumb senator. But yeah, the blackmail stuff, I mean, we're missing more than half of what we have from the Epstein files. And this administration is like, we're not going to release it. They're just in open violation of the law. Where's Amber? Amber, can you explain to me why this administration refuses to release the other half of the Epstein files when by law they're required to? How does that not make you turn on this administration? How is it that you can still come in here and criticize everybody but this administration when that exists? How do you trust them? How do you even trust the information that you have? How do you even trust your own opinion? What Zionist means? I will get there for a sec. Here's actually Mark Goldfelder here. This is who a lot of Democrats are talking about right now. So her name is Maureen Galindo, and she's a psycho. I can't. She's running in Texas 37th, I think, something like that. I believe that she's leading the primary right now. She won the primary. She's in a runoff. This is not who Democrats should be running. She shouldn't win. She says some fucked up. To say that all Zionists need to be in a concentration camp, as much as I hate Zionism, as much as I hate that ideology, having an ideology of Zionism should not put you by itself in a concentration camp. And when she says things like that, it's psychobabble, and this isn't who we need. You can take a better stance against Zionists and the state of Israel than she's taking. She also is doing like this. I mean, she comes off right-wingy, and there's probably a reason for that. She says that like anybody who abuses a child should be castrated. We're getting into a scenario now where like I guess results of a crime like that can allow the state to then physically impose violence on you. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of the death penalty. I don't like any time when the state is allowed to be violent against somebody who's committed a crime. I don't stand with that. But we also know that a lot of our funding is coming from right-wing groups. So there seems to be a connection to like the fringe right-wing, like the actual anti-Semites, who are going to agree with the things that she's saying. That sounds like something straight out of a Nick Fuentes video, that any Zionist should be put in a concentration camp. It does seem like maybe a plant. She's an extremist. Yeah, sounds like an extremist. An extremist on any side is bad. Yeah, this isn't who we want.
And with Jews. And the Jews are saying that Zionists are not real Jews.
Talk to share her thoughts on some Jewish people.
Maybe that has something to do with Zionist billionaires funding my cop opponent.
He's funded by the Zionists who control San Antonio.
Now, this is what sucks. Now, we've got to support Johnny Garcia. I saw AOC came out and said vote for Johnny Garcia. I don't know what his AIPAC funding is like. Let me look real quick. I don't know if what she's even saying is true. I do feel like her delivery alone should have scared people off, but it didn't. Let's see. I don't see any money, but the track AIPAC is saying Canada is pro-Israel, does not recognize genocide, opposes an arms embargo, and endorsed by DMFI. Doesn't look like there's any AIPAC money. Even on May 19th, which was yesterday, that was when AOC said support Johnny Garcia, and that sucks. Like we have to vote for somebody likely who isn't going to recognize the genocide or support an arms embargo for Israel, because this is who we allowed to take the lead.
I know that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but we have the Epstein files now. We have all of the evidence.
No, you can't really understand anti-Zionism.
Now this right here, and this is going to be to explain like what is Zionism. This is Mark Goldfelder. He's a Fox News contributor. I don't know what else he does, but here's his explanation of Zionism, which is true. What I want you to pay attention to is this ethno-supremacy? Because what he says here sounds an awful lot like ethno-supremacy to me, which is most of our criticism of Zionists. is that you believe that you are ethnically superior, and because you are ethnically superior, that you get to do things that nobody else gets to do. Amber, you're actually going to love this. You're going to love this. Is a great explanation for you as to why we should just allow the state of Israel to keep doing a genocide.
Really understand anti-Zionism until you understand Zionism, and you can't understand Zionism until you know what Zion is. Zion is not an idea. Zion is a mountain in Jerusalem, Israel, where the Jews are from. We're called Jews because we're from Judea. We are called Zionists because we are from Zion. Mount Zion is the place where King David established his capital and his kingdom thousands of years ago. So when you talk about Zionism as the right for Jewish self-determination in their ancestral homeland, the key words in that sentence are
the right for self-determination is granted by the fact that their ancestors were born there. That's ethno-supremacy. We have the right to do certain things because our ancestors were here. Roly-poly said, preventing the release of the files is more than just Trump. They already released files with Trump's name. It's about things like carbine connections. Too expensive to explain here what that is or who started it. Go look. Thank you, Roly-poly. If you want to send me stuff on Discord, please do. I don't know that I've ever come across carbine connections.
Ancestral homeland. Zionism is the quintessential national origin movement. To pretend it's some idea that is untethered from that physical, rock-solid reality is not.
Physical, rock-solid reality. What he's saying here is the physical, rock-solid reality is that they get that land. This is ethno-supremacy. This is what's different about this than the Aryans in Germany claiming Aryan supremacy and that the Jews were invaders. This is our land. This is the land of our ancestors. We, the Aryans. What's the difference here? So it's not Zion from the Matrix? Yeah. I don't see any difference here. This is just straight up ethno-supremacy.
Not only wrong, it's unlawful national origin discrimination. It is also true that Zionism is a very important part for the vast majority of Jews across time and space of their religious identity. More than half of the biblical commandments are specifically tied to the land of Israel. And interestingly enough, because of where this country has gone, Zionism is also very credibly considered an immutable characteristic. What do I mean by that?
It's just no pushback from Mark Levin here on Fox News. By birthright, we are allowed to do what we want.
Courts protect immutable characteristics from discrimination. Usually we think of those as things that can't be changed, like, I don't know, gender or race. But if you ask any court today, I think they would tell you you could change your gender. And certainly some courts, like the Ninth Circuit, have said you can get your skin color changed, you can change your race. So immutable characteristic, according to the Ninth Circuit and Supreme Court precedent, means something that would just be totally wrong for the government to force you to change. It would be traumatic for your identity. Well, for many people, self-included, Zionism is an important part of their identity, and it would be terribly wrong for the government to try and change it. So whether it's religion, whether it's national origin.
Yeah, nobody's saying that you can't be a Zionist. You can hold that ideology. You can identify as a Zionist. We just also get to say that your views are troublesome. I've always disliked Mark Levin. That's good. That's good.
Whether it's an immutable characteristic, it is the protected part of who many Jews are.
All right. Isn't that crazy? Do you want to defend that, Amber? Do you want to defend that they have a birthright? So they get to do what they want. You can, but then you don't get to claim that you're not an ethno-supremacist or believe in ethno-supremacy, which would probably make sense given your voting record as probably a white supremacist who doesn't understand that you're a white supremacist. You want to talk about that? Let me know if you want to talk about that. All right, I want to get to some of a congressional hearing along the same lines yesterday. Here was Jasmine Crockett yesterday, and she was talking about the Republicans brought in some witnesses. They're talking about the SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center, and of course they're holding a hearing on the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is silly. Like there's already an investigation. I don't know why Congress is wasting their time with this, but as always, Republicans brought in 3 people to try and smear the SPLC. Democrats get one witness. And this is a pretty simple question by Jasmine Crockett. Like, are the Proud Boys a white supremacist organization? Yes or no? That's an easy thing to answer, right? Either yes or no.
Are the Proud Boys a white supremacist organization? Yes or no? Starting with Ms. Wiley.
It is my view they are.
It depends on how you define it. I have a book.
Okay.
Now, before she gets the rest of that answer, I watched this entire hearing. She starts every single answer with a quick explanation, and then she references her book. She is here to sell a book. And she's going to be called out later by Moskowitz for this, but she's clearly here to sell a book.
Never mind.
It depends on how you define it.
It's a yes or no. Proud Boys, how they define themselves. Are they white supremacists, yes or no?
I have not read a description of how they define themselves.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not on their mailing list. I don't know.
So are you only on the mailing list of...
I'm not like the SPLC. I don't fund organizations that I'm in.
Oh, it just seemed like you were saying because you haven't received their mail, you only received the mail of white supremacists. But go ahead, last witness.
No, they're not white supremacists.
And you know what? I do believe that y'all believe that. Let's try another one. Neo-Nazis, Miss Wiley.
Now, this is an easy one. Neo-Nazis meaning new Nazis, like current Nazis. Nazis, the base of the Nazi belief is ethno-supremacy. Right? This is an easy one. Everybody should be able to answer this one.
Well, yes.
What?
Nazis is in their name. Neo-Nazis, Dr. Swain.
Is the question still about the Proud Boys, or is it about the...
Neo-Nazis. We have moved on. Neo-Nazis.
Neo-Nazis are hate groups, and I have a book, 2002.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're going to...
Her fucking book. Yeah, of course. Of course, it's Aryan supremacy. This is easy. Thank you, Maverick. Maverick, you're having a solid day today. Appreciate you.
I suggest that you all read.
I'm reclaiming my time. I'm reclaiming my time.
I suggest you read my book. It's a long book. If you can't say that neo-Nazis are white supremacists, then yeah, nobody gives a fuck about your book.
Neo-Nazis. Are they white supremacists?
Neo-Nazis, are they white supremacists?
Yes or no?
What's that?
Yes or no?
They're certainly anti-Semitic, which I would join with any member of the Democratic Party. Mr. Nadler earlier was talking about standing up.
Good Lord. How hard is it to say neo-Nazis are white supremacists? How hard is that?
Reclaiming my time.
Happy
Next.
to do that.
Yes, they're white supremacists.
Woo, thank God. Jesus Christ, I didn't think we were going to get there. Oh my gosh, let me be clear. Proud Boys are freaking white supremacists. Neo-Nazis are too.
All right. Then here's, I think this one's Moskowitz. Yeah, same thing. We just need you to say that neo-Nazis are white supremacists, please. This is, and by the way, this is who Republicans brought as their expert witness, Dr. Swain here to hawk a book.
Hold on. That's a wonderful speech and a filibuster.
No, it's true.
Are neo-Nazis supremacists?
It depends on which ones. They're individuals.
No, I didn't ask you which ones.
Some of them are plain old
neo-Nazi. Miss Swan, listen, I'm not reading your book if you literally can't answer this question. Are neo-Nazis supremacists?
They're individuals. Some are, and some may be just plain old anti-Semites.
that would be a supremacist. That's what any of this means. How the fuck did she write a book?
Neo-Nazis are anti-Semites, okay? We're going to agree there.
Right, okay.
But they're also supremacists, Miss Swan.
Okay, if you agree.
No. You don't have to take my word for it, right? Like, they are. That's the whole reason they exist.
But you all don't
believe they are supreme.
You all don't seem to understand that a white
Who's they all? I'm not a neo-Nazi. Who's they all? I'm a regular person. asking another regular person if we can agree that neo-Nazis are supremacists.
I will agree with you.
Okay, I don't want you to be forced into it.
I would agree with you, but I suggest you all take the time and read my Cambridge University Press book.
Listen,
that was nominated for
Ms.
a
Swan,
Pulitzer Prize.
listen, Dr. Swan, I can promise you there's no freaking way I'm buying your book. When it took 2 minutes for you to look at me and had to convince you that neo-Nazi, listen.
Because I don't like the talking points, the leftist
This is not a talking point. This is...
That's a leftist talking point now, that Nazis are supremacists. That's just our talking point over here on the left. This goes to show, like, this is pretty evident here. Like, Amber's doing the same shit. Like, this is what it's like talking to a modern day conservative. They are so afraid of engaging honestly in a discussion that when you ask them a question, their default setting is to just not answer the question because they're afraid of it. So they're just going to say whatever they want. This is the easiest question on earth. If you know like 3 things about Nazis, the first thing you should know is they are supremacists. Their whole ideology is we are better than them.
100 years of history. Watch this. I'm going to show you how easy it is. Mr. Perkins, are neo-Nazis supremacists?
They are supremacists.
Thank you.
That's a Republican witness.
Yes, sir. Mr. O'Neill.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a Republican witness. Just the one person hawking her book, terrified of being asked a question.
Dr. Swan, that wasn't a trick question for them. I wasn't trying to trip them up. I wasn't using DNC talking points. This is part of the problem. And I didn't even want to do this, quite frankly, because I'm not interested in making this stuff political. Right? I got Democratic candidates in Texas coming out yesterday and saying that Jews belong in concentration camps again. Okay?
It's terrible.
Like we're in real bad times.
I agree.
And so if we put these hateful conversations in our political box and we do the whataboutism.
Amber, could you stay on topic for a second? I'd like to engage with you, but it feels like right now you're just copy and pasting like all of your talking points at once. Do you know what we're talking about right now? No conservatives, we need to limit the crap out of our government. We're talking about Nazis right now. Could you get it together for a second? We'd like to talk to you. We'd like to have like some sort of engaging conversation here, but you've got to be anywhere close to the fucking point that we're talking about, please.
This is just going to continue to spread hate.
I agree with 100%. We agree.
Right. And that's why we got to be able to at least agree to a simple set of facts that neo-Nazis are supremacists. Right? Okay. We've moved on. We've moved on. You're there.
But you all use white supremacists as a broad statement. I didn't.
Listen.
Yeah, it does apply to Nazis, though. I don't want to call Nazis white supremacists because sometimes you use it too broadly. I'd agree with that. I think people use white supremacists too broadly sometimes. That's fair. But like that's what happens with conservatives now. They're afraid to admit anybody's a white supremacist, even like the most obvious white supremacists.
I didn't say anything other than they're supremacists.
Okay.
And they are.
I apologize to you, sir.
Okay. Now, you have to
put it in your next book. We'll read it. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. We'll be there. All right, let's talk about some corruption. And Amber, now weird talking point. It's a weird talking point. Do you know what that hearing was about, Amber? That hearing was about the Southern Poverty Law Center. Oh my God, Amber, I'm gonna have to mute you. You're talking about term limits now? Jesus Christ. That was about the Southern Poverty Law Center paying informants in these white supremacist groups. That was very on topic. Very on topic. Maybe you had somebody answer. Okay, if somebody asked you a question, my bad. Let's move on to some more corruption. And guys, do your part too to keep Amber. Don't ask questions that aren't related. But I want to talk about this conversation between Tommy Tuberville and Pablo Reports. We talked about this not yesterday, the day before. Donald Trump has made 3,700 stock trades so far in Q1 of this year. It's like 10x what he normally does. And many of those came prior to him going and meeting with a company or announcing some deal with a company. He's obviously trading on insider information. You have to be a complete and total sycophant to even attempt to deny that Donald Trump is insider trading. Lucky for you, we've got a sycophant here in failed college football coach Tommy Tuberville.
So, Coach, what do you make?
Sorry, Electric Dad said, I wonder what Dr. Swan thinks of the KKK. It's nuanced. Sherry said, no cursing in super chats? Say it. Sherry. Can you not swear in super chats? I didn't know that. Wasn't me said, I missed some. Are you covering the Ben-Gvir video he posted of taunting and harming the kidnapped flotilla citizens? I'm not sure I can show that, to be honest. It is on the outline for tomorrow. I got to it late. I don't think I can show that. I'm not sure. I've got to look into that, but I'll cover that tomorrow. Anyways, Tommy Tuberville, not sure which way you say it, defending Trump blindly.
I asked Donald Trump, 3,700 stock trades in the first quarter of this year. What do you make of that?
Donald Trump, 3,700 stock trades.
Yeah, in the first quarter of this year, it's like every 9 minutes and 45 seconds a trade. I know it's not him personally doing that, but
exactly. And I do the same thing.
He has made 0 trades in the first quarter of this year. So that's just 0 and 3,700 trades are two very, very different numbers. And he didn't do the same thing. This is just sycophancy. Hey, Howdy said, shit, damn, fuck. I guess you can say some.
I never look at my stocks. He does the same thing. You give it to somebody who knows what they're doing. That's how this country runs. People have.
I would like to know how he knows that. I'd like as an adult human being asked to defend somebody else. Why would you just say that he never looks at his stocks? Why would you say you have no fucking clue? How do you then explain his deal with Dell and then tweeting out not only that Dell is a great company but also the stock ticker? How do you look at his trades when he went to automotive manufacturing plants and days before he visited them and had a public announcement at these plants, he bought their stock? How do you explain all of these times that just days or weeks before he made an announcement or visited a business, he bought stock in those companies? He didn't do this before. He didn't do this his first time around, and he didn't even really do it the first year of his presidency. There's no way to explain this other than insider trading unless you are such a bootlicker that you can't admit that Donald Trump is doing insider trading, because of course he is. And he's doing it now, and they're attempting now to give him blanket immunity to consistently violate every norm and law that we have in place for our president. I've never seen a bigger group of cucks in my entire life. You guys should just get together and have a convention. The RNC should change their name to Cuck NC. It's just full-on cuckery. This man has made 0 trades this year, and he is saying, I do the same corrupt thing that Donald Trump is doing, because that's how much of a sycophant he is. He's admitting to a crime he didn't even commit just to defend Donald Trump.
Jobs. Give them your money. If you want to invest in the country and corporations, that's what we all do. I get sick and tired of hearing Republicans and Democrats say we need to stop all this trading. If you're inside trading, you need to stop.
He is. He should stop. Ty said Foxtrot Delta Tango.
But I guarantee you, President Trump's not inside trading. I'm not inside trading, and it's ridiculous even people bring that up.
Well, you might not be because you're not doing any trading, but how do you guarantee Trump isn't doing that? Why would you say that? As just like, I would never say it. If somebody asked if my best friend was insider trading, I would say, I don't know. No, I don't look at his trades. I wouldn't guarantee that my friend is not insider trading. Oh,
most people.
Brandon, you said Nancy was the queen at insider trading. Oh, guys, let's talk about that, Brandon. I think it's from Tuesday. You tell me if that's true. Oh, that's Thursday. Sorry. I'm going to show you a little chart here, Brandon. Stay tuned. Might have been on Monday. Might have been Monday. Here we go. This is Donald Trump net worth increase, net worth in quarter one or second term versus Nancy Pelosi all time. No, I'm not about to defend Nancy Pelosi. You said what I am going to defend or argue against is the claim that she was the best at it. 130 million versus 6.5 billion. Nancy Pelosi, bad. Donald Trump, bad. Probably worse. In fact, I would challenge you to find me a single example of Nancy Pelosi buying a stock and then within days or weeks going and visiting the company of where she bought the stock and doing a public announcement, tweeting out, writing out, or showing at any point that she supported that company. If it exists, and it might, I wouldn't be surprised. But you don't get to talk about Nancy Pelosi when Donald Trump exists. This is just you deflecting. I have a problem with all insider trading, including Nancy Pelosi. If you're new to this stream, you'll know I don't like Nancy Pelosi. I support people who want to ban all stock trading. Tommy Tuberville doesn't want to ban this. He thinks insider trading is okay. They all do. So I think both Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump should be barred from ever holding office. And I think they should both be criminally charged for doing the exact same thing.
People that bring it up don't have a clue what they're talking about.
Got it. Coach, who's going to win the World Cup?
World Cup? Oof.
I do talk about them all, Amber. Now, will you talk about Donald Trump? That's the question. I think everybody doing this should be barred from doing this. But isn't it interesting, Amber? Maybe you could recognize this, that every time we show Donald Trump doing insider trading, you get a whole chat full of people talking about Nancy Pelosi, which they care about. I believe them when they say, I don't like that Nancy Pelosi does insider trading. I believe them. But why doesn't it bother them when Trump does it?
You got me on that. I'm an American football.
Yeah. Go back.
Cup. Oof.
It doesn't matter about the World Cup. Because our system is corrupted. Yeah, and who's trying to change that, Amber? Who are the people in Congress currently trying to ban insider trading and stock trading in general? Well, you just ran one of them out. You ran out Thomas Massie, AOC, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, all the people that you were supposed to be afraid of. And then ask yourself, Amber, you're here enough that you've heard this before. Like, why do you think it is that the people that you hate the most are always the ones bringing anti-corruption legislation? Is it possible that they're lying to you about who the bad guys are so that you will continue to support corruption? They just call them communists so that you'll hate them? Yeah, of course, Amber. Massie was trash because he wanted the Epstein files released. He wanted to ban stock trading. What did he do, Amber, that made him trash? Every person you just named is trash. Yeah, that's the point, Amber. See? You don't hold this principle. You don't have principles. You're perhaps, and I do think you might just be an operative, but that's your actual talking points. Everybody who disagrees with me is trash. Insider trading should be banned. People in Congress try and ban insider trading. I won't support banning insider trading because they are trash. APAC Amber. Yeah, that's the new name. It's APAC Amber. I think we should refer to her that way from now on. All right. How about this? Is this corruption? Let's talk about those ICE detention facilities, which we're not really using.
When DHS bought up warehouses to turn into ICE detention centers, I noticed something weird. Many of these warehouses had been sitting on the market for years, and now DHS was buying them at a massive markup. Like this warehouse in Socorro, Texas, that sold for 1,000% above its recent valuation. Kristi Noem once championed this program, but now that she's out, the DHS Inspector General just launched an investigation into these warehouses. To understand what was happening, I reached out to Michael Riston, a former military analyst who has been tracking ICE warehouses on his site, Project Saltbox.
ICE doesn't necessarily want to be using warehouses. The plan came from folks very close to the White House who were sitting on properties that were causing them losses every year, and the decision was to buy them at taxpayer expense.
So let's take a look at 3 ICE warehouse sales that have used your money to make people in Trump's orbit even richer. First up, Goldman Sachs. It was the majority owner of this warehouse in Roxbury, New Jersey.
Goldman Sachs. Man, have they been giving Trump money?
That ICE purchased for nearly $130 million. That's 137% over a previous valuation in 2025.
What made that value go up, Amber? Why is our government paying 137% markup? Any idea, Amber?
For years, Goldman Sachs executives have had close ties to Trump, like Steven Mnuchin, who served as Trump's Treasury Secretary in his first term. Next up, Blue Owl. You may not know this private capital company, but honestly, you should. 35 members of Trump's administration reported investments in Blue Owl funds.
All these investors. So they're getting kickbacks here? We pay 137% over market value and then they all get a kickback?
Trump himself has over $5 million invested in Blue Owl, which has also been a major funder of data centers across the country. So,
Amber? Amber, what's this? What is this? Why are they overpaying for data centers in that are owned by places they're invested? What's going on here, Amber? Q Biden, yeah, Jay Resi. Q Biden in 3, 2, 1. She's gonna talk about a Democrat. That's gonna be her answer. Yeah, but Amber, just talk to me. Ignore the chat. Just talk to me. Don't talk to them. What is this? I'm asking you about, do we need to restart the video for you? I'm asking you why this government is buying warehouses at 137% over the value of the warehouse, and the people that own those warehouses who are getting a massive purchase way over what their warehouse is worth all happen to be places where Donald Trump and most of his cabinet is invested in. What is this? Can you provide the defense here real quick? No whataboutisms, Amber. Any whataboutism from you is going to result in a 5-minute mute. I need you to answer this one. So mods, watch for Amber's response to this. We'll let the video play. But I need you to explain this.
Invested in Blue Owl, which has also been a major funder of data centers across the country. So maybe it's not a huge surprise that Blue Owl was paid about double the market valuation of a warehouse it owned in Tremont, Pennsylvania. And then there's Deutsche Bank. Through a series of subsidiaries, Deutsche Bank owned a warehouse in Salt Lake City.
Okay, Amber, if you don't answer the question, we'll mute you for the rest of the live. I didn't ask who this was. I'm asking you why these warehouses are being purchased by the federal government for more than double what they're worth, and why Donald Trump is invested in these companies and why his cabinet is invested in these companies. If this is not to line their own pockets, can you explain why we are paying double? Of course, we're going to laugh at your answer because you're going to do whataboutism, and then we're going to miss you the rest of the day. This is what's crazy. Like I'm telling you what your answer is going to be, and you're still going to do it, and knowing that means you got to take off and go find a different place to troll, and you're still going to do it.
That ICE is now planning to turn into a facility with about 10,000 beds. With their DHS markup, Deutsche Bank essentially pocketed nearly 50 million more taxpayer dollars than if they had sold at market value. Deutsche Bank
Again, what's going on here?
Has loaned Trump about $2.5 billion over the past 2 decades and had 40 different accounts with none other than Jeffrey Epstein. Even though these warehouses haven't been converted yet, Wall Street institutions have already cashed in. And the reality is that other Trump-connected contractors are already profiting off of...
All right, get rid of Amber. That's good to know. I believe that this is a military operation to perfect our biggest weakness, which is an attack on the power grid, which is... These aren't data centers, you fucking idiot. These are ICE detention facilities. Last chance, Amber. These aren't data fucking centers. These are ICE facilities. I think we've proved once and for all that Amber's too stupid to understand anything that she views. These are literally just like written out talking points. This is pathetic. No, not we'll see. You're too dumb. One last chance, then you got to go.
ICE detention facilities with inhumane conditions.
What we're seeing happen now, I never in a million years envisioned seeing this happen on U.S. soil. Never once.
The nearly $1 billion spent on warehouse purchases is just a fraction of the $38 billion that DHS has to build out a mass detention system that could hold nearly 100,000.
You didn't, Amber. All right, mods. Amber can go for 24 hours. See you, Amber. We'll see you tomorrow.
People. So it looks like there's a lot more of your taxpayer money to go around.
All right. The answer is, Amber, it's corruption. They're paying themselves for everything that they do, and it's because they're all a bunch of fucking criminals, and your allegiance to them blinds you from seeing the most criminal administration in history. Here's a good example of from R.J. Reynolds. It's a tobacco company, and there is some discussion now on the floor of the Senate specifically about this. But the tobacco company Reynolds American donated $5 million to a super PAC backed by Trump last month, about 1 week before his administration rolled out a brand new policy that could prove lucrative to the tobacco industry. The donation, which came through a Reynolds subsidiary and brings $8 million to the donated by the subsidiary to MAGA Inc., the Trump-backed super PAC was revealed in a campaign finance report that we've been going through all week. The donation came on April 30th. 2 days later, coincidence, a top executive at Reynolds and two lobbyists who represent the company had lunch with Trump at his golf club in Jupiter, Florida. Also attending were two executives from Altria, another tobacco company. And what they're doing is they're trying to loosen the regulations on vapes, and vapes specifically using flavors and marketing that target children. We already did this with big tobacco. The reason that you couldn't use Joe Camel anymore, and the reason you couldn't use these cartoons, is because they were targeting kids. It's hard to convince somebody my age to take up smoking. Like I haven't smoked my whole life. I know what the consequences are. It's going to be really hard to get somebody at my age to take up smoking. You got to start that habit young. You got to get kids addicted young. And you want people who think that they're invincible, who think that they'll just be able to kick smoking whenever they want. And so they use like these flavored tobaccos and this marketing to attract kids. Everybody knows that's why they do it. And what they're doing is they're hiding behind like anti-Chinese sentiment, saying that these Chinese companies are sneaking this into the United States. And what the American companies are saying is not that we should ban these Chinese companies from putting this in here, but that the American companies should be able to do the exact same thing since China did it. So Trump made a call, and he called what's his name? McCary? Dr. McCary? Is that how you say his name? Didn't answer. So he called RFK Jr. And he basically told RFK Jr., hey, we need to change our policy on this. On Friday, so this is on Saturday. By the following Friday, the FDA has changed their policy. Trump, during that lunch, called RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz and said he wanted that regulation lifted. Trump's FDA commissioner is Dr. McCary, resigned in protest. He refused to do it, resigned, and so RFK, who is all about making America healthy again, just changed it. Now here is Dick Durbin grilling Dr. Bhattacharya about this exact instance, and Dr. Bhattacharya, because he's under oath and because he's a doctor, has to agree with Dick Durbin that this doesn't seem good.
And I think that for the NIH, our role is to document the ways that vaping and other things affect the health of children, as well as other people. So,
do you see any connection between fruit-flavored vaping and children being attracted to it?
I mean, we'd have to do research, but I think that is probably inappropriate for children to be using fruit-flavored vapes.
Do you realize that the announced policy of this administration within the last 2 weeks is going to make it easier for these companies to peddle Fruit Monster vaping, Candy King vaping, Raspberry Slushy vaping to our children in junior high and high school now?
Senator, I think that vaping for kids is a dangerous thing. And I think that the role of the NIH isn't to set policy, it's to do research to document.
I see you say like NIH is corrupt too. Trump is corrupt. Trump changed it. We're not going to blame NIH here. We're not going to blame any of these other groups. Trump changed it because people gave him money. His own people are resigning. His own people are saying this is a bad move. Why did Trump change it? Because he got money.
the ways to address these health problems.
Maverick, you said leave my vapes alone. For any of you that are vape, there's already a restriction here to target kids. They're not coming after your vapes. They're saying you can't target kids. And Trump got that lifted. That restriction is gone now. Now they can target kids.
Conceded the obvious. They're peddling flavors that attract children who don't have the maturity to make the decision. And they become addicted to a product which is dangerous to them, according to Dr. Volkow, which I couldn't agree more. So how can we in good conscience say that this administration has the best interests of children at heart when they're exposing them to this deadly product?
Senator, all I can say is about the NIH's commitment to make sure that we study this issue as fairly and evenly, objectively as possible in a rigorous way.
We don't need a study. We need action. We need to stop this. And the previous administration wasn't much better, to be honest with you.
You're telling me Republicans are targeting kids? How can you target kids if you can't buy it? This is what the cigarette, if you know anything about the history of the cigarette companies, this was their exact argument that they lost. The cigarette companies were like, hey, we can do whatever we want with our advertising. We obviously aren't targeting kids because they can't buy cigarettes. But they were targeting kids through their advertising. You can go to a smoke shop, a vape shop. They might not ID you. You can have a friend who's older get these things for you. It's all about attracting kids to want this product. And like, I don't know how many of you went to high school. I was always afraid of drinking or smoke. I didn't do any of that in high school, but all my friends did. We were 16. They had no problem. Like, they couldn't buy alcohol, never a problem. They couldn't buy weed, never a problem. They couldn't buy cigarettes, never a problem. Like, they found all that stuff. They were able to get all of that stuff. And how do they know about it? It's marketing. It might be in movies. It might be TV shows. That's the point here. And we've already done this. I thought we were past this, but there is nothing Trump isn't willing to do to make a buck. So we're just allowing the targeting of children now.
And I was pretty critical of them as well. To think that these companies, many from China, are going to peddle some product.
That's right. Juul got sued for this too, for marketing to kids. You're right. I forgot about that, Percy Cat. Are you guys really going to take the side of big tobacco to defend Donald Trump today? Oh, well, everybody does it. Is this what you're going to do all fucking day, every fucking day? Is every time Donald Trump does something corrupt, you're going to go, other people do it. I don't care. He's the fucking president of the United States. Can you hold a standard for him that is higher than everybody else? He has the highest office in the land. Is it not okay for us to hold him to a higher standard? Or does Donald Trump's standard have to be the lowest standard possible always? Sherry said, Gen X here, we had a smoking section. That's true. You smoke on planes.
To our kids, that they're going to vape in this steamy concoction of chemicals, chromium, and God only knows what else is in it. And we're going to look the other way, as this administration says, let's have some more fruit flavors on hand for kids to dabble in and to try to make a decision. Does this make sense to you?
I mean, Senator, having kids have more access to vaping does not make sense to me.
Is there anyone on the panel of you 6 doctors who think this is a sensible decision by the Trump administration to make it easier to peddle fruit-flavored vaping to kids in high school? Wait, I'm asking panel. Kids in high school and junior high school. Is there anyone among you who thinks that's a good idea? Thank goodness.
Have any of you guys seen, like, I go to Mexico regularly. Let me show you a cigarette pack in Mexico. This is what happens when you don't have lobbyists running everything. Let me show the Mexico cigarette warning labels. I don't know why these don't exist in the United States. See if I can pull these up. There's a good example. Like, on every package of cigarettes, you're going to see somebody like dying. You see horrific stuff like this. This happens all over the world. Like, they're trying to incentivize people not to buy cigarettes. This is what it looks like in other places. Not here in America. We can't do that because capitalism is so goddamn important. These are Marlboros. Causes gangrene, oral cancer. We can't do that here because we have lobby. Is it the same in Canada? I've never looked at cigarettes in Canada. Why? Because in America, we can't convince people we can't give people the information they need or scare them out of doing something that might kill them. Nah, capitalism is too fucking important. Same in the UK. I've only seen it in Mexico. Somebody brought it to my attention. I never buy cigarettes, so I wouldn't have even noticed, but somebody brought it to my attention last time I was down there. I was like, oh, there we go. So grateful I quit smoking almost 10 years ago. Well done, oddball. And everybody who smokes, I hope you figure out how to quit. Not judging you, but it's terrible for you.
Honest in your response. Well,
no, the argument's not over the packaging. The argument is on marketing, and they're choosing flavors specifically. Like there was a provision that's put in, and states have different provisions. Like I actually think in Arizona it might be banned. I can't remember. Or it might be Utah. It's one of those two states where like flavored vapes are banned. I think somebody said in California flavored vapes are banned. But the idea is that you don't want to make these products appealing to children. And so using like kid flavors like cotton candy, using cartoons, those things are banned. And we're lifting those restrictions because the tobacco companies recognize that they will make more money, and they rely on young kids getting addicted to this. I smoke a pipe, more distinguished and not as bad. There you go. That is more distinguished. Not Arizona. Must be Utah then. Or maybe that's what it was. They just tried to ban them in Arizona. Okay, that's probably what it was, Dragon Wizard.
There's a disclosure today, and I don't know the source of it here, about a $5 million donation from Big Tobacco that preceded the vaping decision. Reynolds sent along a check for $5 million, and the president switched his position on this. This is ghastly to think that we're allowing this to occur. And here I am, 36 years after passing banning on smoking on airplanes, seeing us introducing a new product and new variations on it to addict our children.
I think. Hold on, Namaste. Adults like cotton candy too. I seriously hate this argument that a flavor alone is enough to be considered marketing to children. Why? It can be marketing to children and adults, right? It can be both. I don't know why we need flavored vapes. Why do we need to have that? Especially if we know what it's doing to children. I think it's a good argument. Please explain why this is marketing kids. Because you're choosing sweet flavors, and they show the packaging there. It's cartoonish. It looks like candy, and they're trying to mimic flavors that kids like. It can also be for adults. It doesn't mean it's just kids. You can market to two different groups of people at once. Nah, fuck that. It's not. Prohibition doesn't work. This isn't prohibition. What are you talking about? Wait a minute. You think that you should be able to market dangerous chemicals in a way that like focuses on the flavor when there's the warnings. Like, are kids going to pay attention to that warning? Do you hold that same standard when it comes to pharmaceuticals? I think both of you guys, when we talk about pharmaceuticals, you generally agree with me that we shouldn't be running ads for like painkillers. Alcohol is more dangerous. Great, but don't let that be marketed to kids too. Is our chat doing what about us now? Did we get it? Did we piss off the vapors today? Hit your vape real quick. Let's see if we can get that anxiety down. This isn't prohibition. It's about advertising. I think it's a good argument. I don't believe that you should have flavored vapes. Cannabis comes as candy. Is that for kids only? Yeah, that's the same argument a lot of people have made with edibles as well. But you can't advertise. Kids can't go in there and see it. But yeah, you can make the same argument. I would also argue though that cannabis for kids is not nearly as dangerous as vaping. Remove the advertising, but not the products. I mean, look, yeah, I guess there's some argument for that. It's poison. It's legitimately poison. Like, maybe that's just America. What I honestly don't understand why it's legal, to be honest. Like, it's poison. It's an L take. Thanks, Bambi. Well, you're agreeing with some of our chat today. I'd be fine with no ads for vaping. So is alcohol. Yeah, alcohol is also poison. Yeah, agree with that. And if you're finding instances where like it's consistently being marketed to kids, I'm okay restricting that. My body, my choice, unless RTP. It's not no. You're allowed to smoke. What are you talking about? It is your body, your choice. You're allowed to smoke. There's things I do that's unhealthy. I think this is crazy. I think it's crazy that we're getting pushback here on specifically You can go read their internal emails. Why would they need to lobby this? You all have flavor. Those of you who smoke flavored vapes, you have flavored vapes, right? Nobody's talking about banning these. Did I mention popcorn lung? I find that best description to dissuade vaping. I don't know what popcorn lung is. Maybe they should only make flavors like skunk, dirty diaper, fart. That's called weed. Yeah, it's not banning these products. You can get these products. Yeah, make the packaging generic. Just have it say grape. It's about advertising. It's about packaging. It's about ads on the side of smoke shops. It's just about advertising. Do they want to bring around a new generation of smokers and vaping? Of course. Of course, all the science is against smoking and vaping. All the science says don't do it. So do we want it? Do we want advertising that's geared towards children? I think maybe that's the disconnect here. Is we just have to understand this is about advertising. I don't think you should I don't like alcohol advertisements. I don't know why we need those. I don't know why you need billboards showing a new drink. If people want to drink it, they can drink it. If people want to smoke, they can smoke. I don't like the idea that we're marketing in a place where kids are seeing, and especially when our warning labels aren't nearly like they are in other countries. We're not that good to our kids here. We're not that careful with our kids here. Social media, substances. We look at freedom in a weird way sometimes. Jocelyn said, I work in first episode psychosis. The worst thing a young person can consume is cannabis. The rates of psychosis in legalized countries are the highest than anywhere else in the world. I doubt that's the worst thing that a kid can consume, but I do agree that studies show that cannabis can be a real problem, especially in young kids or people that are prone to psychosis. And there's studies now we're learning about long-term cannabis use and psychosis. I agree with that. I would still think like fentanyl is probably worse than cannabis, but I understand the point you're making there. All right. Damn, I didn't expect that. Popcorn lungs is caused by diacetyl, which is in some flavored vapes. Okay. Don't know anything about that. Okay. I think we got everything there. Definitely seen young kids do worse. Yeah. Where are you at, Cartelici? If I buy tobacco here has unsavory pictures on the packaging, I do understand it. Don't like it anyways. Yeah. Sorry. I'm stressing some of you out making you vape more. That's my bad. All right. Liz Oyer explained something that admittedly, I think most of us missed when they rolled out Trump's new $1.776 billion slush fund to pay off the criminals who attacked the Capitol on January 6th. And buried in all that commotion was a release of claims agreement that Todd Blanche signed. And sometimes I wish Amber was still here, but MAGA, you can't even what about this. This just has never happened. Just another unprecedented event for Donald Trump. Now he's going to be sued. Hopefully the Supreme Court reverses this. Hopefully it's held up as unconstitutional. But one more unprecedented event from Todd Blanche and this administration to just do illegal things for Donald Trump.
Hey, everybody. I have some news, and it's not good.
Sorry, she's
Justice
quiet.
Department's settlement with Donald Trump is even worse than we knew. It turns out there was a secret part of the agreement.
Man, that is a quiet one. I didn't realize this was quiet. Let me find her TikTok and see if I can find a louder version. Give me one sec. While I'm pulling that up, just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded, so anything you can do to help us knock out that gift goal by the end of the live would be greatly appreciated.
Live studio so I could play things
while I'm on
Somebody's
live
live
studio.
is playing. Sorry about
Nicole,
that. Ooh,
I don't even have
shout
TikTok
out
live
Flower
studio
Power,
yet.
whoever you are. Anyways, we are crowdfunded, so if you can help us knock out that gift goal, it'd be greatly appreciated. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Super Chats are the way that we do that. If we start a dollar train, we'll knock that out quick, fast, and in a hurry. Here, let's see if this
Hey,
is louder.
everybody.
Yeah, that's better. Perfect.
That was hidden from us when. Hey, everybody.
Does not let me go full screen.
I have some news, and
Does not let me do full screen.
it's not good. The Justice Department's
not it.
settlement with Donald Trump
Where's my full screen option? All right, well, we're watching it this way.
is even worse than we knew. It turns out there was a secret part of the agreement that was hidden from us when it was announced yesterday. I just reviewed it, and I am struggling to find words to tell you how catastrophic and corrupt it is. I'm Liz Oyer, the former pardon attorney for the Department of Justice. Here's the deal. Todd Blanche, in his official capacity as acting attorney general, signed this one-page document right here. It's called a release of claims. And here's what it does. It signs away all claims against Donald Trump on behalf of the United States. In other words, it says that Trump cannot be investigated, audited, or sued by the United States government in the future. That includes any government agency, the Justice Department, the IRS, etc. In effect,
all these crimes he's committing. They just sign a memorandum saying he can never be sued. Bambi. Bambi. Explain it. Signing an agreement that says he can never be prosecuted.
this will end the ongoing audits
Sued. Sorry, not prosecuted. Sued.
Trump and his companies. But that's not all.
Explain why this isn't corrupt. If you want to do a whataboutism, show me any other president who ever had an agreement that said that they could never be
Ongoing
sued.
audits.
Either themselves, their family, or their company.
Of Trump and his companies. But that's not all. It forfeits our right to collect any taxes owed by Trump and his businesses. It waives our right to try to
He doesn't even have to pay his taxes that he owes.
Reclaim the money he stole from taxpayers. It gives up our right to sue him for damages or to pursue really any legal recourse whatsoever against Donald Trump. And it binds the United States forever, meaning it applies even after Trump and Blanche leave office. And it's actually...
Bambi, you're about to get banned. Bambi, you said you need to read. Tell me what this is. Tell me what she's talking about. You're about to get 24 hours too. Don't tell everybody else they need to read. What is she talking about? What is this document called? You guys are about to get rid of Bambi. Congratulations. What's it called, Bambi? Because she read it, guys. She read this. We all need to read. If Bambi doesn't, the money is for damages. I'm talking to the chat right now. Okay, great. Bambi, we'll see you tomorrow. 24 hours for Bambi.
Even worse than that, because it's not limited to just Donald Trump. It also signs away all of our claims against his companies, his family members, and his associates. This is a staggering betrayal of the public trust. Even compared to other bad acts by this administration, this one stands out as especially unforgivably corrupt. Trump and Blanche are colluding together to give away our money, our rights, and our democracy. I'm sure there will be lawsuits that will argue that this agreement is illegal and unenforceable, and hopefully they will succeed. I'm not sure who will bring them or when, but I'll be keeping a close eye on it, and I'll keep you informed. In the meantime, please help me sound the alarm.
There you go. It'll be challenged. Again, this is one of those ones I weirdly have faith in the Supreme Court that they will stand up to this. But the level of corruption and just like open corruption by this administration and the unwillingness of MAGA to even address it is staggering. Here's Donny, Donny O'Sullivan on CNN. He's meeting with J6ers and talking to them about their expectations on what they think they're going to get now from this settlement. Now, remember, these are people who were convicted of crimes. somehow, some way, convicted criminals deserve money from the government. We gave $5 million to that traitorous scumbag, Ashley Babbitt's family, because she invaded the Capitol, refused to comply with orders, and was shot, and we gave her $5 million. And now here they are all excited. I committed a crime, and I'm going to get paid for it. This is, it says his name, I think, here in a second.
So the number I've put in is $30 million. $21.5 million is for the wrongful imprisonment.
People who took part in January 6 are hoping...
Oh, wait, one other thing before we go back. I'm sorry. Before I start this, I wanted to add one more thing to the release of claims agreement signed by Todd Blanche. Todd Blanche consistently... well, actually, I have another video. I'll get to that later. Sorry. Going back to this.
For big payouts.
We endured a lot. Our lives are still not the same. So I don't know what kind of price you can put on that.
Even before the DOJ announced its so-called anti-weaponization fund this week.
How long were you in prison for?
Jail and prison, I combine those numbers, 1,075 days.
People like Brandon Fellows had already begun making claims for compensation.
What's the reaction within the wider January 6 community to this fund?
Some people are whining and saying it's not enough, and we're not even hearing numbers yet.
Fellows was sentenced on felony and misdemeanor charges for entering the Capitol on January 6.
Oh, here he is, committing crimes. These are the crimes he committed and took pictures of. He definitely deserves money for this.
Yeah, we went in there.
Seen here in a red beard costume, Fellows spoke to CNN's Ellie Reeve during the riot.
But they were smoking a bunch of weed in there.
The charges against him were dismissed after a pardon from President Trump. Now Fellows expects compensation.
According to ChatGPT and Grok, and also my knowledge of January 6 cases, I'm in at least the 3 to 5% upper tier for how terrible and also how strong of a case I have.
It's like surreal to me. I mean, look how angry I look.
Rachel Powell, a mom of 8 and a grandmother to 8, spent 3 years under house arrest. We interviewed her before she began her prison sentence in 2024.
I don't deserve this, and my kids don't deserve it.
3 years for trespassing Maverick. There was never... are you talking about her? Or the last guy? The last guy never went to jail. His charges were dropped. Never went to prison.
Like, have we not been through enough?
She was released last year after being pardoned by Trump.
She was at house arrest, by the way.
You say to people who are outraged and say people like you don't deserve a penny.
A lot of people don't agree with what happened on January 6th. But when you step back and you look at somebody like me, for example.
Jacob said, love and appreciate you guys. Thank you, Jacob.
My major felony had to be struck down by the Supreme Court. It's my crime that day of breaking a window. Technically, that's a misdemeanor charge. And yet I had 3 years of house arrest.
I know he said he spent over 1,000 days in jail and prison. I know that he said that. I don't know where he's coming up with that. Charges were dropped. I don't know how he's coming up with that. I don't know if he's counting like probation. Potentially he was held before trial. I'm not sure. That sounds wrong. I don't know if that number is right. That's what he's saying. It doesn't make a great deal of sense to me. Ty said, can it be reversed? Senator Grassley from Iowa defended the $1.8 billion fund. He's 92. Yeah, it's all going to be challenged. It potentially can be reversed.
Then having to endure everything I did through prison and getting a 5-year sentence on top of that. That's clearly weaponization.
Brandon Fellows still believes...
Why is that weaponization? I don't understand that. I don't understand what the weaponization is here. How's it weaponization? You broke into the Capitol. It's just weaponization because you all supported Trump?
The lies about the 2020 election and even believes that January 6 was a setup.
But that's why I rationalize.
Put her back in jail. She's a traitor. She got a pardon. You can't. A little thing called double jeopardy.
People, even violent people, getting paid for that day because the government set it up. And also on top of that, they stole the election.
And both Fellows.
No evidence that the government set it up and no evidence that the election was stolen. So you can believe lies, blame the government, commit crimes, and get paid for it. That's what a cool country we have.
And Powell remain loyal to President Trump and thankful for the so-called anti-weaponization fund.
I feel like he has kept us in his mind.
Stacey said for watermelons and sticky thighs. Thank you.
Despite all the other issues that he's got to deal with as leader of the world, basically.
Are you thankful to the president?
Of course, I'm thankful. If it wasn't for the president, I'd still be sitting in that prison.
Donny O'Sullivan, CNN.
Walter said Daisy Dukes and DeSantis boots. Nasri said, RTB, when are these people going to see the light? Never. Never. It's a cult. There's evidence doesn't matter anymore. Like, they'll just kind of fade away eventually. Some of them will just like stop believing it and fade away, but almost none of them are ever going to see the light.
Join me now with more perspective on this.
Aren't all these victims Antifa? Good point, Mayhem. I forgot they were all Antifa.
Congressman Dan Goldman. Congressman, what goes through your mind when you hear convicted January 6 rioters expressing gratitude for this fund?
Send that motherfucker. Thank you for the $2.
It absolutely drives me up the wall. I mean, let's be very clear. They were convicted either because they pled guilty or a jury convicted them unanimously, and their sentences.
Do I expect to see a Tina Peters lawsuit? No, because she was convicted by her state, so I don't think she would qualify for this.
Were levied by judges, Article 3 judges. So they are, of course, complaining because they didn't like that there were consequences for their actions. But the notion that a pardon somehow means that they should be compensated for wrongful prosecution is preposterous. None of these people would ever win.
Thank you, Alter Ego, for the gifted subs.
A legitimate case that they were wrongfully prosecuted. None. And the fact that Donald Trump made up a whole bogus lawsuit that he ultimately withdrew, and so it is irrelevant, to create this sham slush fund for January 6th defendants who rioted and stormed the Capitol and beat police officers to the tune of 140 serious injuries. Is an affront and an attack on all of our values. And it's even worse because this slush fund, if it were to go forward, and I think there are many reasons why it won't, can be done in total secrecy.
Chantel said, I think when he did go to prison and then when Trump pardoned him, he was released. I guess maybe he was in the middle of an appeal. I don't know. I didn't look into his charges. But what they said there was that it was dropped. The case was dismissed, which wouldn't be the case if he was already convicted. But I might have misheard what they were saying here. Okay, I want to talk about this. This is a Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton defending. Oh shit! Is this shit? Give me 1 second. Let's see if I can find another video of this. This tweet has been taken down. Let's see if I can find another version of it. Here we go. I think this is it. On CNBC, defending this is obviously illegal slush fund.
But pretend it's not the president. Pretend it's me.
Yeah.
Why? And let's say you thought that I was a tax cheat. Why would you? I'm not saying that he was a tax cheat. I'm just saying, let's say you thought that I owed the government money. Wouldn't you want me to pay the money? Why would the government not want me to pay the money?
Andrew, we have two things going on here. We intentionally leak your tax returns to embarrass you in the public. You have a claim against us. There's an audit that we don't know whether there's money owed or not owed. To resolve that, we say, you know what, Andrew? We're going to drop the audit. We're going to move on, and you're going to drop your claim against us for trying to name and shame you. That's a deal I think that is actually a pretty good deal for the government if the government intentionally leaks somebody's tax returns.
Okay, two things. Number one, why wouldn't we want to know? If the government did intentionally leak this, why would the government take this deal? If Trump is trying to prove that the government was weaponized against him and that they intentionally leaked documents, why is the Trump administration covering it up? I'm with you, Maverick. That's not a bad deal in that part, but why would they do that? Why would he drop this claim if the whole point here is to prove that the government was weaponized against him? Why would he take that? Why wouldn't they show you? I think they would probably show you. Don't you think, Maverick? Don't you think they'd show us that evidence if they could prove that the Biden administration weaponized the IRS against them? Especially since he's not going to get money from this. I think what's far more likely is they were never going to win this case. It was a rogue person. It wasn't done intentionally by the IRS or the administration. It was a rogue person who leaked the IRS documents, and Trump was never going to fucking win that case. And so he used his leverage and got the DOJ to then pay off his friends, which, again, I think this is all going to be ruled unconstitutional. I don't think anybody's ever going to get paid from this. But this is just one more example of Donald Trump making a claim, claiming weaponization, and then not seeing it through. Why? Because there's no evidence. That's a good point, too. Chantel Parrott, the guy that leaked Trump's tax returns, is in jail for 5 years. And it said, like, it was me. It was me. So this isn't a good deal. This is Trump, again, not having the evidence that he claims he has of weaponization.
That's a horrible thing.
That's another good point. That is another good point, Tony Danza. He was also the president when this happened, so it would be like his own administration was leaking information about himself to embarrass him. That'd be tough to prove.
Do you think it's any different? I don't disagree. Look, the leaking piece is, I agree with you 100%. The only question I have for you that relates to this is whether you think being in the position of being the president changes that dynamic at all.
I do. What do you? Is the president supposed to say, you know what, you can do whatever you want to me, and I have no recourse?
No, he's supposed to see his lawsuit through. Because now it seems like they can do whatever they want, and there's no recourse. If the IRS is leaking, if they're weaponized against you, it seems like they got away with it, and we are going to pay for it. Either way you spin this. The IRS gets away, if you're like a MAGA person, the IRS got away with it, and then you and I have to pay. If you want to see it the other way, like it was a phony claim and we have to pay for the president's phony claim, whatever side you come out on this, either way, we are paying for it. But Trump wasn't able to prove his claim. Why did he drop it? Maverick, why do you think he dropped it?
And it was done when he was a private citizen. I don't think we're going to be talking about...
No. I just wonder maybe there should be a... I don't know if it should be a third party that makes the decision.
There were two times I think the second one was in 2021, wasn't it? There were two different leaks, and I think one of them happened after he left office. I think it was 21.
Or something like that.
I don't think we're going to be talking about this issue in a week, because the American people are going to say, look, they leaked his tax returns. They tried to name and shame him. They tried to destroy him. Okay, we resolved that. In terms of the audit that had been going on for years with obviously, no findings to date, that's gone. Let's look forward. This, as I read the settlement, the audit going forward, the tax returns that are filed going forward are subject to the same scrutiny as anybody else.
It's just in the past.
It's in the past.
And
Trump's kryptonite's discovery. It's been the case historically.
By law, get audited every year.
What I love is everybody's like, let's just move on. And then when we move on, people are like, I don't like that we're moving on.
Yeah, nobody's making that argument. By the way, in the IRS manual since 1977, they have an internal policy that requires mandatory examinations and audits of the individual income tax returns of the sitting U.S. president and vice president. So when they talk about these audits and they claim that the audits were weaponized against the president, since 1977, we have audited the president and the vice president on their individual tax returns. So Trump is claiming weaponization for something that happens to literally every president and a vice president. And the point was, it's just to promote like consistent tax compliance. And avoid politically motivated decisions like about whether the IRS under the control of the president is going to audit themselves or not. It was a way to have somebody come in from the private sector and not do exactly what Trump's doing in taking control of the IRS and allowing tax cheats to ascend to these high offices and then give themselves cover for not paying their taxes. That was the whole point of this. It's not weaponization. It happens to all of them. Trump's the only one that we haven't audited. Why? Because he was in charge, and he made sure that he wasn't audited when he was in charge. That hasn't happened to any other president. Again, just more corruption out of them. In fact, the first person to sue, the first person to file a lawsuit, you might remember the name Michael Caputo. That's a first person now. Wants what does he want? I'm trying to remember how much he wants. It'll say here. I'm going to let this play for a second. I need to go to the bathroom. Reminder, guys, we got about an hour and 5 minutes left. I do have a hard cutoff today because I got to pick up my daughter on Thursday. It's the last day of school. So if we can knock out the gift goal by the end, that would be greatly appreciated. Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal are preferred. I'll let this play and then I'll be right back. But Electric Dad said 40,000 other people's returns were leaked. Why don't they get a settlement? It's 400,000, actually. Electric Dad, probably a typo there. They don't get a settlement because they're not Donald Trump. Dreamliner said, why aren't people mad that Trump only paid $750 in federal taxes? Because Trump can do no wrong, and that's why.
$6 billion compensation fund not only
Not
was
that loud.
defended at the White House today, but
Sorry, it's a
also
little
on
quiet.
Capitol Hill, where acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche testified in his Senate hearing. CNN's Paula Reed is with me. And Paula, you're breaking some new reporting right now about the very first claim filed to this fund, what critics are calling a slush fund, and President Trump says is to compensate for weaponization.
And that's exactly right. This is the first known claim. I mean, I don't know everything that's inside Todd Blanche's inbox, but this is a confirmed claim from longtime Trump ally and former Trump administration official Michael Caputo. Now, he sent this request to the acting attorney general, writing, quote, as survivors of the illegal Russiagate investigations, our family was encouraged by news of the anti-weaponization. I write with profound gratitude to you and President Donald J. Trump for creating a process to right these wrongs. He is asking for $2.7 million in restitution and reimbursement from the fund to, quote, help repair what is left of our family. The costs of the decade-long attack are difficult to enumerate, so this amount may change. As we heard from the acting attorney general earlier today on the Hill, he said this fund is open to anyone. Now, insists that there are no partisan requirements to get an apology or reimbursement, but the concern among many lawmakers is that this will disproportionately benefit the president's allies. Now, of course, the fund hasn't been set up yet. Caputo sort of getting ahead of the formal architecture around the fund. The attorney general, if Todd Blanche is selected, if he is confirmed, he would choose 5 members to oversee this. One of those members he will choose in coordination with Congress. He would also be the only one who would have the ability to audit their decisions. But earlier today, when he was really pressed by lawmakers about the details, how are you going to put in guardrails about who gets money, he didn't have a lot of answers. He had one really significant exchange with Senator Coons. Let's take a listen.
I heard from a number of law enforcement friends who found it appalling that there was the possibility that folks like the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, who had assaulted Capitol police officers.
I just want to highlight a message from Burned Out Medic that said Trump is the biggest pussy this nation has ever seen. I think that is accurate.
Officers could receive multi-million-dollar payouts from this fund. Will you commit that no one who has been convicted of assaulting a police officer will receive a payout from this fund?
So I shared the concerns that apparently members of law enforcement gave to you last week, although none of this was announced last week, so that's surprising. But
they had heard rumors there would be a settlement fund.
Okay, but anybody can apply. The commission will set. The commissioners will set rules, I'm sure.
So the problem there is that if Todd Blanche doesn't know what the rules are, the guardrails will be, nobody does. We don't even know who these members will be, who will ultimately decide. So this will continue to face a lot of scrutiny.
Interesting. Well, former FBI Director Comey.
That might be a good move. Like we all just flood the we just all flood the requests for compensation. That's not a bad idea.
Was on the show yesterday and said he has been he's being prosecuted for a weaponized Justice Department. He might put in for the funds. I don't think that's who they have in mind. We've also learned that a part of the agreement that's established this fund is an addendum that Blanche posted today on the Justice Department website that would protect Trump, his.
All right, that part we've already covered, so we'll cut it there. Somebody want to explain what Caputo did to deserve some money? Does anybody know? I don't even know. I don't know what he had to do with January 6th or how he's a victim there. Decades long of suffering, though. You posted that the other day. make tons of claims so they never get through them all. I don't think this is going to hold up. I think it's going to be overruled. Road trip to California, don't have voter ID, so we're going to all drive down there and vote for Pratt. Thank you, Democrats. Oh, please do it. Renee, I will pay you for the video. Renee, I'll pay you $100 for that. $50. We'll call it $50. I'll pay you $50, Renee, if you drive to California and you try and vote for Spencer Pratt and see what happens. Please do it. Please do it. You're going to find out real quick that you can't vote. Please do it. You might learn something new. You might learn that all these dumb motherfuckers that tell you that you can just vote in California are lying to you. You have to register to vote. You're not going to get past the registration page. Your vote will not count. You might, in some precincts, depending on the level, you might be able to cast a provisional ballot. It will not count. I will bet you any amount of money that if you go to try and vote, it won't count. Do you want to take that bet, Renee? I would love for you to honestly do it. Please do it. Might have to wait a while after they get arrested. That's true. It's also a crime for you to do that. That's a good point. Be sneaky with it. It'll be fun to see you in jail. I hope that that's a thing. Like we shouldn't tell them. Fuck, my bad. No, you can totally do it. Which I'm changing my mind. You can absolutely vote in California without ID, and you should all try it. Every one of you that's from a swing district, all of you should go to California and attempt to vote. Please. Please go do that. Renee wants to commit voter fraud. She must be a Republican. That's correct. That is a very Republican thing to do. All right. Moving on. Here's Todd Blanche. Now, everybody has, I think mostly, I think even Maverick had a problem with this. I think every conservative I've talked to that isn't just like a troll, everybody recognizes that this is a problem, unless you're Todd Blanche, in which case it's just no problem.
But wouldn't the average taxpayer respond and say, okay, but why is that now my problem? Why do my tax dollars now need to go to people who are upset about their involvement in investigations?
Well,
Shane said, Sharon Reed, you are the problem. Sorry about that. You are all of the problem, actually.
If you're just upset, you're not getting a dime. On the other hand, I think if you said to the American taxpayer that there is a horrible wrong committed by your government, and now you can apply and you can have your lawyer's fees back. You can be compensated for what you lost financially. What American would say, oh my gosh, that's terrible? I mean, I very much disagree with the idea that the American taxpayer is indignant about the fact that a victim of weaponization, okay, a victim who suffered, whether it was legal fees, lost a job, had their life turned upside down in a way that was not appropriate. If it was appropriate, there should be no compensation. And that's
But there's no guardrails here. This is how easy it is to fucking lie to these people. If this was really their stance, if this is really what they thought they were going to do, they would say, we're going to make sure that people are compensated if there was unjust prosecution. But there is no unjust prosecution if you assaulted a police officer. There's no unjust prosecution if you took a shit on a desk and rubbed shit all over the walls. There's no unjust prosecution if you entered through a window. There should be all of these stipulations of like people who don't qualify, but there are literally no stipulations for not qualifying. And when you see the way that Trump issued these pardons, he pardoned all these violent criminals. Obviously, this administration doesn't care if you committed a violent offense on that day. They got pardoned. And we're just supposed to believe that they won't also pay these people out? Of course they will, if it stands, which I don't think it will.
That's why we have 5 commissioners who will take a look at it. But I do not think the American people have issues with that. To the contrary, I think they do want their tax dollars spent.
No, almost everybody has a problem with this. Todd Blanche, man, what's it like to just like publicly take a load to the face every day for Donald Trump? Just get on camera and take load after load after load to the face and completely debase yourself. I don't know what the payoff is of being attorney general long term. And, you know, maybe he's banking on people having a short memory and his reputation being strong enough that he gets to parlay this into something lucrative long term. But holy fucking shit, I don't envy him for that job, to just show up on TV every day and do corrupt things for the president. Does anyone actually think they want to give the money to the J6ers? Maybe some of them, his friends. I think they want to I think they want the Proud Boys to be happy. I think they want these violent groups that they refuse to condemn or do anything about the first time around. I do think that those people feel Trump didn't help them out. I think that they would that would go a long way in smoothing things over. I think they're trying to buy more support. Jamar says Bill Belichick wants his short sleeve hoodie back. Fuck you! I didn't cut these sleeves off myself, Jamar. These are this was purchased this way, and I am feeling a little Bill Belichick-ish now that you say that. Appreciate that. Okay. I want to play this clip. I came across it yesterday. And then it just happened to kind of align with where we're at today. I legitimately, and you can see this in the chat, Maverick, this might be kind of enlightening for you. I legitimately don't think that conservatives know what happened on January 6th. I think almost everything they believe is bullshit. From FBI informants being in the crowd, which is true, but they say it's FBI agents. These were informants. These are people who worked for radical groups, and they were in the crowd with their radical groups. It wasn't the FBI setting up. Give me an example of, well, you're not going to love Tim Pool after this one, Maverick. You love Tim Pool? Good Lord, man. You need better people. Tim Pool's a goddamn idiot. But even the police officers that let people in, there's no evidence that the police let people in to go to Congress. They opened up other doors. You can hear the recordings. When you go through all the J6 tapes and you go through these court cases, you can get explanations for why doors were being opened. Do you know, off the top of your head, Maverick, how many of the thousands of people prosecuted, I think it's like 17 or 1,800 people that were prosecuted, how many of those cases that were prosecuted were overturned on appeal? You can say percentage, you can say total number. Maverick, what would your guess be? How many of these cases were overturned on appeal? Now, a lot were thrown out before there were charges. How many were overthrown on appeal, meaning somebody was charged and then they decided that it wasn't a fair prosecution? Tell me you got the answer. It's zero. It's zero. And Tim Pool is going to represent all MAGA today. And Luke Beasley is going to represent people who can read. You will see out of Tim Pool what you see from MAGA: anger, confidence, rage, name calling, and no understanding of what happened on January 6th. And you will see Luke Beasley sit there and watch this toddler in a beanie throw a tantrum for 3.5 minutes. Tim Pool is going to rage. And the MAGA in the chat are going to sit here and be like, fuck yeah, Tim Pool. I love Tim Pool. And then at the end, when it's proven that Tim Pool didn't know what he's talking about, they'll just go quiet. But this is pretty impressive.
How many of them who never showed up on that day are in prison for 20 years?
Sorry, this is going to play. I'm going to try and let this play through. So let me read these comments real quick. This just seems like another distraction. I feel like they know the slush fund won't fly. Maybe that could be it. I think I got all those. Cool. While this plays, about 50 minutes left. We're way off on the gift goal. Jen's going to start guilt tripping the shit out of you, and she will beat me up. So just be ready for that. We would love to hit our gift goal every day so we can keep doing this. Dollar Train, there's 800 people here. We could knock that out quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Enrique Tarrio wasn't even in D.C. on January 6th, and you are saying that man who his only crime was, quote, don't leave. That's his only crime. You think he should be in prison for 20 years because you're a fascist. You don't care what the facts are. You don't care if this is unjust. You only care that the machine state has decreed you are not to be locked up. And this is the problem I have with the left. They don't know the facts. They don't care about the facts. They view morality as a blanket government stroke of the pen, and every person, regardless of their crime, should be in prison for decades. I reject it outright. The people who fought cops should go to prison. They did. It's been 3 years. Now you say that Donald Trump saying the injustice that we've seen warrants commutation or pardons. You say that means he's advocating for violence. My dude, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's fine. I get it. We try to be polite. We try to be nice. But there are so many young liberals who sit here and say, the corporate press told me that these people are bad, and the machine state government has decreed it by pen. So I don't care what crime they committed. I don't care what the jury said. I don't care who was on the jury. Enrique Tarrio, who was not there, should be in prison for 2 decades. Tell me this now. Why is Enrique Tarrio in prison?
Yeah, so they uncovered with him.
All right, that was a lot. You said a lot there. By the way, somebody said 100 cases were overturned on appeal. That was sentencing. not the convictions. So there were people with obstruction charges, and they found that the sentencing was too harsh, but the actual convictions were never overturned. There's 0 convictions that were overturned, but sentencing was overturned.
His plot to overthrow the government.
Enrique Tarry, is it?
Yeah, and his organization.
What plot?
Why don't they know? Why do you think it is Tim Pool with 2-point-something million subscribers, with all that bravado, doesn't know that Enrique Tarrio had a plot? So I was lying. No, I said none of the convictions were overturned. The sentencing was. It's not lying, Jeff. Those are 2 different words.
Give me some
prosecutors.
Give me some f***ing data. Stop squinting at me and saying the prosecutors did a thing. You didn't know. You didn't read it. You didn't read the court papers. All you know is the fascist machine state told you he should be in prison, and you're saying yes to them. Tell me why.
No, I understand that law's on the book.
Give me some data. You wouldn't need data for this, by the way, Tim. You would look at the testimony and the documents provided in the court case.
Have been there for a long time that I agree with, that if it's proven that you had a plan and you wanted to act on it, and then days after.
The proof?
The proof is
say the proof.
by prosecutors.
Say it.
Communications between.
What communications? What did he say? What did he do?
Is this serious?
Are you going to tell me why you think Enrique Tarrio should be in prison for 20 years, or are you going to say the government decreed it?
I just need you to burn this into your mind. The level of confidence and anger from Tim Pool here, I need you to burn this into your mind. It is very old. Thank you. It's from a couple years ago. It wasn't me. Said, does MAGA suddenly support the Innocence Project? No, they definitely don't.
I just explained to you.
So the government said so. Is that it?
It's usually law enforcement, which I guess is part of the government.
Government said so?
Yep.
So
Law
you can't
enforcement
say
that uncovers evidence of communications, a memo that he crafted and sent to his organization.
Saying what?
That detailed each institution of government that they were going to try to overthrow. Then just days later, his organization is at the Capitol.
Oh, Tim's searching this for the very first time. Did you see that little look as he leaned forward? 20 years is nuts. 20 years is not enough. Seditious conspiracy, dude. Maverick, I hope you learned something right now. I hope that as Tim Pool reads this, you learn something.
Yeah. You know what? I'll say this. The idea that Enrique Tarrio...
He was on a rant. Yeah, I admit it when I'm wrong. There is a difference. I've gone on rants before, Maverick, where I was wrong. I misread something somebody said and I got on rants. I don't have a problem with Tim going on a rant here. I have a problem with the level of confidence he has with no evidence. I've never gone on a rant this stupidly, where I was screaming at somebody about something, saying that there was no evidence, and then being like, oh, there's unlimited evidence.
Crafted a memo outlining, or they 3 months featured witness evidence to Tarrio and co-defense included videos, thousands of messages in encrypted chat groups, as well as a public message on Parler. On or before January 6th, Tarrio convened a Ministry of Self-Defense to coordinate Proud Boys leadership on January 6th. The chat showed that Tarrio, stationed in Baltimore, encouraged the Proud Boys as they attacked the Capitol. Let's figure out what that encouragement was.
Oh, wait a minute. There was a plan. They were communicating. He was telling them to stay. Why wasn't he in D.C., by the way? Is it because he had already been barred from D.C. and he had to sit in Baltimore? He wasn't allowed in D.C. because he's a criminal? Oh, yeah.
Are they going to actually say in the article? So here's a citation. Proud Boy and 3 other members of the far-right groups were convicted Thursday in a plot to attack the Capitol. A jury in Washington.
You ranted about Putin? I don't remember that. What was that rant about? I don't remember.
D.C. found Tarrio and 3 lieutenants guilty of seditious conspiracy after hearing dozens of witnesses. Jurors cleared a 5th defendant, Dominic Pizzola, on a citizen charge in a significant milestone of the Justice Department, which is now secured a conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. They will never...
Hold on, real quick. Blah, 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 what he's reading. Jurors cleared a 5th defendant, Dominic Pizzola, on the sedition charge, though he was convicted of other serious felonies. The judge excused the jury without delivering a verdict on some counts, including another conspiracy charge for Pizzola, after jurors failed to reach a unanimous decision. You can see here, a jury found Tarrio and 3 other people guilty of seditious conspiracy after hearing from dozens of witnesses over more than 3 months in one of the most serious cases brought in the stunning attack that unfolded on January 6th. In the significant milestone for the Justice Department, which has now secured seditious conspiracy convictions against the leaders of 2 major extremist groups, Prosecutors say we're intent on keeping Democratic President Joe Biden out of the White House at all costs. The charges carry a prison sentence of up to 20 years. It's just the fucking law. And for anybody like Maverick, when you said 20 years for this, that's the law. Judges don't make up how long you sentence somebody to jail. You don't just get to be like, oh, 20 years. Seditious conspiracy carries that term. That's what the law states. So it's not like they're making it up. If you have a criminal statute and you are found guilty of violating that criminal statute, there are mandatory minimums. That's what this is. This isn't weaponization. It's frustrating sometimes to watch you guys be like, that's too harsh. Well, change the law then. But it's not that like Democrats or the Justice Department made new laws. That's the law.
Dominic Pizzola, a citizen charge, and a significant milestone of the Justice Department, which is now secured a conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. They will never stop. Okay, that's interesting. Wikipedia asserts that they did this, but there's actually nothing in the news article that actually states that is true. Well,
you'll notice Tim is doing a good job here criticizing Wikipedia and the AP article here. Luke Beasley didn't bring these sources. Tim Pool, when wanting to find out about with these seditious conspiracy charges, first went to Wikipedia. It was his choice to go to Wikipedia. Then it was his choice to go to the AP article. That should tell you everything you need to know about Tim Pool. Then when it was time to fact check, Tim first went to Wikipedia. He doesn't even know how to fact check this. Why is he not looking at the conviction? He doesn't know how to do any of this stuff.
Oh, now we got a problem. Let's try this again. Let's try a secondary source. Let's see. There it is. They introduced evidence that Tarrio discussed with associates a plan to have a large crowd in Washington storm government buildings in a scheme they called 1776 returns, in which the Winter Palace was used as an apparent code for the U.S. Capitol.
All right. What happened on January 6th? A large crowd in Washington stormed government buildings? Oh, so he had a plan written down? Did you know this, Maverick? Did you know that he had a plan for this? That it had a name, 1776 returns? That Winter Palace was the U.S. Capitol? That it relied on people that they weren't in control of, but getting a mob worked up and attacking the Capitol, and that the Proud Boys would be in the crowd and they would be cheering everybody on and convincing them to charge the Capitol? And yet somehow MAGA has convinced themselves that this was actually the FBI. So they wrote down this plan to do this, and then they blamed the FBI for the FBI doing their plan. My Lady Hernandez says, I'd rather my taxes go to feeding children, not paying MAGA thugs. Yeah, good luck with that.
In a message, he said, make no mistake, we did this. Do what must be done. And he directed the Proud
Accomplice liability, they all need 20 years.
Boys to do it again.
Thanks, Nasri.
So the question then becomes, in the bigger picture.
Hold on. Remember, you have no evidence. Give me the evidence. Give me the evidence. Give me the evidence. And then he does this.
Said, make no mistake, we did this. Do what must be done. And he directed the Proud Boys to do it again.
Huh. We did it. We stormed the Capitol. This is all us. We're going to do it again. Tim?
So the question then becomes.
Oh, shit. I love this by Luke Beasley here.
In the bigger picture.
So are you going to at all acknowledge that you just blew up over something that I was absolutely citing fairly?
I don't think you cited it fairly.
This is a great video. It's a compilation. I think it's entitled Tim Pool Has a Humiliation Fetish. Yeah. Whoops. Where's Maverick? Maverick, did you know this? You might have answered already, but did you know that? MAGA, did you know that? Where's the part in those court cases that says it was the FBI? Where's any court case that says it was the FBI? Why hasn't Trump brought any prosecution against the FBI or the officers who were opening the doors? Where's the prosecution against, you guys keep saying the Southern Poverty Law Center was involved in this. How come Trump isn't prosecuting any of those people? Do you recognize how easy it is to get you to believe dumb shit? They never prosecute anybody for these crimes. It's not MAGA. It's somebody else that's doing these crimes, but they never prosecute. Why not? Trudy said chipping in for Madeline. Trudy for $50 over on Venmo. Tanya, thank you very much with I believe that is a fox picture. Thank you. Do we answer that, Maverick? Federal law makes it a crime to overthrow or destroy the government by force. Violations can result in fines and imprisonment for up to 20 years. Yeah, but this is seditious conspiracy, Maverick. Look up the statute for seditious conspiracy. I think that's. Oh, is that the right one? What did you look up? It's 18. Yeah, there it is. You did have the right one. Okay. Yeah. So it seems like they were charged correctly, right? Wouldn't you agree with that, Maverick? That was correct? So why did he get pardoned? Why did Trump pardon Enrique Tarrio? And why is he now going to pay him? You now know unequivocally he was guilty of seditious conspiracy. He had a plan. It was written down. It went off without a hit. After it happened, he admitted that it was him, that they did it. Why did he deserve a pardon? Why is that man walking free? Maverick? No, it was seditious. It was seditious conspiracy. That's exactly what he was charged with. A conspiracy to commit sedition. If two or more persons, we can pull this up. If two or more persons in any state or territory or in any place subject to the jurisdiction of the United States conspire to overthrow, put down, or destroy by force the government of the United States or levy war against them, or to oppose by force the authority thereof, or by force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law in the United States, or by force to seize, take, or possess any property of the United States contrary to the authority thereof, they shall be each fined under this title. So which of these apply? Conspire to overthrow, you could argue maybe not overthrow. You could argue that, but I'd say sure, overthrow. Put down or destroy by force the government of the United States, probably not. Levy war against them, probably not. Oppose by force the authority, yes. Or by force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law of the United States, yes, that fits the description. The certification, they tried to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of that law. Force to seize, take, or possess any property of the United States, contrary to the authority thereof, yes. This is pretty obvious. This is like, by definition, by the statute, that's seditious conspiracy. They wrote it down. They did the plan. After they did the plan, they admitted that they did the plan. Maverick, you got to be better than this, man. Okay, so were they okay, great. I appreciate that. So they were guilty of seditious conspiracy. Now, I need you to tell me, why did Trump pardon them? Why are these people being pardoned? And why are we going to pay them? You can commit seditious conspiracy and then get paid and get pardoned? Robin, thank you very much for the $10 there over on Cash App. Are we starting to wake up a little, Maverick, at how much they lie to you? And just how far from reality MAGA has you? That's an easy one. They should have served all their time. There's nothing undue about or unjust about their prosecution. B87GT said we were way too easy on the South when they lost the Civil War. Is this the South will rise again? Is Trump just the South will rise again? Is that what it is? That's the prophecy coming true. I hope you're seeing it, Maverick. I keep telling everybody I have faith in Maverick. One of these times I'm going to be proven right. One of them. You might be the one, Maverick. All right. There was a New York Times report, and Todd Blanche is going to poo-poo this, but before he does, I want to explain what he's saying. New York Times report was done by independent auditors, and they audited, once Trump's tax returns were released, they audited his tax returns, and pretty easy to do if you're a CPA. and especially if you have expertise being a CPA. They brought in a team of CPAs who and former IRS auditors, and they went through his taxes, and they said that he could have owed up to $100 million in taxes that were unpaid. Now, obviously, they don't know all the ins and outs of his business. So when they said up to $100 million, that could be anywhere along those lines. And every time this is cited, Todd Blanche just says, poo-poo, it's the New York Times. But remember, he signed an agreement that said we can't go after Trump for taxes now. Is that not weaponization? What's different about the liberal freaks paying people to go out and protesting on the streets, especially Klan members? What's different about seditious conspiracy? Renee, I still don't. I think that you're purposely misunderstanding, and I think that you're just being dishonest here. Like the Southern Poverty Law Center was infiltrating white supremacist groups, and they were paying people to turn on their white supremacist friends, and they got information. And they were attempting to sue these white supremacist groups and unmask them. And there's nothing, you can do that. There's nothing illegal about paying informants in these groups. What's different between what the Southern Poverty Law Center was doing and what Enrique Tarrio did is one of them is illegal and one of them is not. That's the main difference. The law.
This isn't unusual in any way, shape, or form. It's unusual because it involves President Trump and it involves the Department of Justice. But beyond that, the fact that the IRS is settling a case and not moving forward with an audit is not unusual.
Now, the president is not getting any money from this settlement, right?
Right.
Now, the New York Times has reported that he could have potentially owed up to maybe even $100 million because of those ongoing audits. So are you saying this was not an effort to help him avoid financial liability?
I mean, I've seen that. The New York Times is self-reporting. They're saying, oh, we said in some report that he might have to owe $100 million.
Yes, they did an audit of his taxes and said he could owe up to $100 million. That's good reporting. That's the freedom of the press, and that's the press doing really good reporting.
That's not true.
It is true. He could owe up to $100 million. It is true. He could.
It's the definition of completely made up fake news, and then it becomes real news because they repeat it. So every single article that cites this supposed hypothetical $100 million payment that the Trump organization was going to have to make to the IRS.
That's not what they said. They said he could owe up to $100 million, not that he was going to pay it, because he already hasn't paid it. It's not even that far-fetched. Like we found he's already been caught. He's already had to pay the IRS, I think it was like $50 million in back taxes, because he took a deduction for one of his buildings in Chicago multiple times. And he had to pay that back. Trump has been caught cheating on his taxes dozens of times. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Donald Trump cheated on his taxes. He did it all the fucking time.
Relies on some...
welcome, everybody, from the Lisa's Learning Party. I appreciate you guys. It's good to have all 34 of you here.
New York Times article that isn't true and that relies on sources that are not verified. And so, listen, the president is not getting any money. He's not getting any money. And the unsurprising fact that an existing president of the United States does not have to go...
Couldn't you make the argument that he is getting money, though? If he did have up to $100 million in taxes that he owed, and they signed an agreement that says you can no longer go after the president, then isn't he technically getting money? I'd say that if you sign an agreement that says the IRS can't come after you, then yeah, you're probably getting money.
Through more and more audits, which has been happening for years and years and years in exchange for settling, shouldn't surprise the American people. It shouldn't surprise Congress. And it's something that was, look, my job is to do the right thing. It's to do the right thing no matter who is on the other side. And the fact that it was President Trump and his sons and his company played no role in my decision except to do the right thing.
For sure. For sure. Making sure that his sons and Trump never can be sued played no role in your decision. For sure. Bob on the Rocks, tell us about the Southern Poverty Law Group. Tell us more about how they paid informants, which is 100% legal. God damn, it's got to be nice to be as stupid as some of you. I just heard a thing and I stay mad about it and I don't learn anything new. All right. There was this is, I forget his first name. His last name is Schwartz. They'll have his name here. He's one of Trump's appellate judge nominees. The thing that's interesting about Schwartz here is that he's currently Trump's lawyer, one of Trump's lawyers. Trump has a lot of lawyers because he's a criminal and he's consistently in court. Trump appointed one of his own lawyers to be an appellate judge. Currently, Trump owes this attorney's firm over $400,000, and Trump is bringing him in as an appellate judge. I don't know like how anything could look more on its face corrupt. Somebody that Trump owes money to, he's giving a judgeship. Maybe Trump's not going to pay that $400,000. Maybe he is, but the loyalty is questionable. And here's Senator Booker and Attorney Schwartz. I forget his first name. Sorry.
That right now, today, are you personally representing Donald Trump in his criminal appeal in New York?
Oh, sorry, real quick. It wasn't me. Said at this point, they aren't brainwashed. They're complicit. They actively want the hateful shit. It's got to be.
I am, Senator.
And the man who's nominated you to a lifetime appointment as your client, he owes, his PAC owes you, is it $400,000? For legal bills?
Senator, I actually have no idea what the financial amount is.
But he has paid all his bills now?
Senator, I don't handle that aspect of the relationship, so I really couldn't confirm what you're saying.
So can you...
Bob, you have to tell the truth when you hear they didn't funnel $3 million to the KKK. That's a lie, and there's no backing of that. They paid informants for white supremacist groups. You're just making up lies now, Bob.
In all of American history, one federal appellate nominee, in any time in modern history, who was actively representing the president who nominated him at the moment of his nomination. Can you name in any time in modern history that we've ever had a situation in our democracy where a president has nominated someone who is representing them? Can you?
So, Senator, start out, as I said earlier, if I am confirmed, I will recuse myself from all cases in which I've represented the president and be very cognizant of my duties. Second,
Bob, none of us voted for the Southern Poverty Law Center. We're just pointing out it's not a crime. The money they spent, you could argue, was poorly spent. You could argue that they didn't get anything out of it. I don't even know, to be honest. The Southern Poverty Law Center is a private organization. We don't vote for them. They're like, I don't even know like what the fuck you're talking about right now. It's a private organization. If you want to criticize them, but they didn't do anything illegal. They might have mismanaged funds. Fine. Like, none of us work for the Southern Poverty Law Center. We don't vote for them. They're just a private organization. Are you comparing a corrupt federal government who you pay their bills and you vote for them? You're comparing them to a private organization so that you don't have to admit that they're corrupt? Is that what we're doing here, Bob? Great. I don't donate to the Southern Poverty Law Center, Bob. Why are you comparing a private organization to the government? That's how fucked we are as a country. And that's how fucked MAGA is that like we're talking about a corrupt federal government and you're talking about a private organization to justify why you don't care. Now, Bob, we're done talking about the Southern Poverty Law Center. So mods, anything Bob says from here on out about the Southern Poverty Law Center, feel free to mute that. Bob, you can stay on subject now that we've answered that. Thank you.
Senator, sitting here, yes, there have been obviously 2 prior nominees in this administration who have been nominated. And then obviously...
Sorry, to get back to the question, Booker asked, like, can you think of any time in history where the president's like personal attorney or attorney representing the president in any way was nominated? And he's like, yes, it's happened 2 other times, both with this administration. Oh,
cool. Presidents have from time to time nominated justices and judges with whom they are very close, they may have worked with previously. So it's not an unusual circumstance, Senator. And as I said, my oath of office will be sacrosanct, and I will recuse myself as appropriate.
So why not disclose any financial obligations this president might have to you? Don't you think that's germane to our evaluation of your objectivity if the President of the United States owes you $400,000?
So, Senator, any amount of money the president would pay would be to my firm, which is obviously a very large firm.
But isn't some of your, I mean, a lot of us were involved in firms, isn't some of your compensation based upon the clients that you represent? Yes or no? Is your compensation based upon the income your firm receives from the clients you represent? Yes or no?
Yes, Senator.
I wonder how long Todd Blanche's commute is from Trump's rectum to his office. He never leaves. He works from home in the rectum.
So you're telling me that this body of senators should not know about any financial obligations the president has to your firm and the actual pecuniary, the actual financial benefits that you stand to get from this case when that very president has nominated you? Can I ask you?
All right. We shouldn't know. We should just keep that a secret. How much more of this corruption do we have to look at? Here is Senator Dick Blumenthal asking the question that he's become famous for asking all of these judges. But then he gets an admission here. Interesting, it's the first time. Shout out to Blumenthal or his staff, whoever thought to do this. We finally have an admission here.
Who won the popular vote, Mr. Schwartz, in the 2020 election?
So, Senator, again, consistent with the answer that Justice Jackson and other prior
factual
nominees.
Question, Mr. Schwartz.
What's the answer to that question? Who won the popular vote in 2020? Maverick, who won the popular vote in 2020? Let's be real, nobody cares about the 400,000. The question is, can he be objective? Maybe. Is it illegal to nominate him? No. Yeah, but again, that's like, it's not illegal to nominate him, but why would Republicans not care? That's the question we're asking, Maverick. Why would you put a judge in place that has a conflict of interest? Why would Republicans vote to confirm him? Because they are subservient to Donald Trump. So you're putting in people with a conflict of interest consistently. Again, has it happened before? No, except for with Trump, where it's happened twice. Now's the time to say Biden. Thank you.
It's a matter of public record.
Biden won the popular vote, right? Biden won the popular. There's no other way to answer that. Maverick, who won the popular vote in 2020? The only answer is Joe Biden. If you answer that Joe Biden was certified the winner, you're not answering the question. You're asking you're answering a different question. If they asked you, who did Congress certify as the winner of the 2020 election, you would say Joe Biden. But if they ask you, who won the popular vote, it makes no sense to say Congress certified Joe Biden, because Congress is counting up the Electoral College, not the popular vote. See how that's not an answer? I believe that you said it. Okay, I hear you. All right, great. And what does he answer?
It's a factual question, Mr. Schwartz. It's a matter of public record. You wouldn't answer the question in this way if you were before a judge, would you?
Senator, sitting here as a judicial nominee, I'm bound by the codes of conduct, and I can't answer that question in the way you want me to, because the only legally and ethically correct answer is the one that prior nominees have given.
No, it's not, because prior nominees were asked who won the 2020 election. Blumenthal asked who won the popular vote. There is no legal obligation or ethical obligation to not tell the truth with that answer. The fact that he knows other judges have said that answer leads me to believe that he was coached. MAGA, I only want MAGA to answer this question. Do you think, you're going to take a guess, it's hard to confirm this. Do you think that when the Trump administration brings in these judges, do you think they bring them in first to practice their answers? Do you think they come in and give them a script on how to answer certain questions? MAGA only. Thumbs up if you think that the Trump administration is taking these potential judges and practicing their answers so that they answer in the way that Trump wants them to, which is, of course, where he can't say that he lost in 2020. Just a thumbs up if you think they'd practice, thumbs down if you think they don't. MAGA only, please. While they're doing that, we got about 20 minutes left. I think we're pretty close on that gift goal. I appreciate you guys helping us knock that out. I think it's something like $80 left. We could knock that out with the dollar train on the way out. Am I a fan of the Young Turks? No, not a fan. None of you guys want to engage in that? Thumbs up you think they do? Okay, well, let's see.
Which is that Joe Biden was certified as president in 2020.
Let me ask you, Mr. Flowers, this answer that you've given obviously has been rehearsed. Who did you meet with at the White House before you came here in preparing?
Senator, I did practice moots, I suppose you'd call them, with folks from White House counsel. But
you practiced?
I didn't practice a particular answer. I'm responding to the question you asked.
Well, sounds to me like you practiced. Mr. Schwartz, did you
I agree with you, Renee. I do think they all do it. But here's the question. They're so rehearsed that he didn't even hear the question. And my question to you, Renee, and Maverick, is why do you think it is that when the answer is obvious, that Joe Biden won the popular vote, why do you think it's so important for the Trump administration to make sure that their judicial nominees don't answer it accurately? Why do you think they make them say that answer? What's the point of that? Why do they practice lying? Loyalty test, maybe. Thank you. Do you think that's a good thing? Do you think it's a good idea to do a loyalty test, to have judges taking the bench who the loyalty test is, will they lie for the president? Think that's a good idea? No, there's no active lawsuits on who won the popular vote, Neil. There's no active lawsuits on who won the popular vote. And there's no active lawsuits on who won the 2020 election either. Do we think that's a good idea? That the loyalty test Trump demands is that they lie in front of Congress? That's a crime, by the way. It doesn't concern you at all? That they bring them in, they're like, hey, just so you know, if you're going in front of Congress, you're going to have to lie for us. If you don't lie, you're not going to be confirmed. That's not concerning to you? Knowing that they do that, and Maverick, knowing how many times you have found out information that isn't true, like that Enrique Tarrio didn't commit seditious conspiracy when he obviously did, are you at least in some ways waking up to the fact that, holy shit, they lie about everything? We make the statement regularly. Everything you believe about this administration is a lie. Everything they tell you is a lie. And they do that on purpose. They do that for control. They do that to divide. And they've realized they don't really need much evidence. In fact, they don't need any evidence. Every single lawsuit that has come up about the 2020 election has either been dismissed or lost. 0 out of hundreds of times they have won. And every time they lose a lawsuit, you become more and more convinced that the election was stolen. Why? Because they keep telling you that. They won't admit that they lost. And every day that they're able to perpetuate this lie and keep it going on longer and longer, the more committed you become to ignoring anything even close to something that is factual. No, it's not the same as the last one. Bob on the Rocks, give me an example of a lie that we believed that the Biden administration perpetrated. What did the Biden administration tell us and get judges to lie about on the stand that we believe today? Give me an example. You can give me any one. I will end COVID. Joe Biden say, I will end COVID. I don't know if he said that, but I don't believe that. So that wouldn't be an example, right? Because none of us believe that he ended COVID. He said, I will he said when the pandemic, he said, I will end the pandemic. Yeah, the pandemic's over. That still happened. And in that, he also added that we will still have a problem with COVID. So nope, 0 for 1. You want to try again, Bob? What's a lie that the Biden administration told us that we still believe today, or believed during the entire Biden administration? See how hard it is for you to have an example here? That's a good point. Trump did say that during Operation Warp Speed, but this is an obvious lie. And yes, thank you, Roly Poly Bolo. I was just about to say, being wrong isn't a lie. Trump is lying. The election wasn't stolen. John said, test came back. My cancer's in remission. Hell yeah. Give it up for Johnny Longtree in the chat. W Johnny in the chat for cancer in remission. Love to see that. Jennifer said, just wanted to help finish you off. Thank you. Appreciate that. Trump colluded with Russia. Nobody said, wait, what? Biden didn't say Trump colluded with Russia. They said that was the Mueller investigation, and Trump's team did collude with Russia, and that was proven, and his own campaign manager admitted it. So also not a lie. It's a lie that you're actually weirdly like repeating a lie at this time, that there was that the Russia thing was a hoax. That's another lie that you've been convinced of. I'm telling you, isn't it crazy? Every time we fucking do this, MAGA, tell us something that's true. It's all lies. Every fucking time. Maverick, I hope you're seeing this with your friends here in the chat. How fucking hard is it for you guys to point to a lie? How come every time we do this, every example from MAGA is an actual lie? The charge wasn't collusion, it was coordination. Well, actually, what they were charged with, what Robert Mueller was charged with investigating, was any and all connections between the Trump campaign and Russia, and he found a ton. Was the case not started based on the Steele dossier? No, it was not. That's another lie, Maverick. The Steele dossier is opposition research, and if you want the whole history on the Steele dossier was started by Republicans. It was opposition research against Trump. And what opposition research is it's not intended necessarily to be true. Like when I worked for the Republican Party, I worked on the Romney campaign, we did our own opposition research into Mitt Romney. And so some of that opposition research, it's basically like anything that anybody's going to say about Mitt Romney. Some of it's true, some of it's not true, but it's so that you're aware and you're prepared during an election. So the Steele dossier was basically any claim they were going to make about Trump. So some of that stuff is true, some of it's unverified, some of it might not be true. But the Steele dossier was used as part of a FISA application, but even the FISA court said like we would have granted the FISA warrant without the Steele dossier. But even though the Steele dossier was included in the FISA application, just like in any court case, you are going to provide all the evidence you have. Not all the evidence is great. The Steele dossier wasn't great evidence. It was a list of basically accusations that you would look into. But no, the Steele dossier was not used to start that investigation. However, even if it was, they secured multiple guilty pleas and guilty verdicts, including, once again, Donald Trump's campaign manager, Paul Manafort, whose job before he worked for the Trump campaign was legitimately working for Russia in Ukraine to try and sow an insurrection in Crimea and get the folks in Crimea to leave Ukraine and become part of Russia. He legitimately was an operative for Russia in his job right before working for the Trump campaign. And he admitted and pled guilty to working with Russia. That was his guilty plea. You have to have your head buried in the sand or inside of Donald Trump's asshole to still think the Russian investigation was a hoax. People went to jail. They pled guilty. Everything they believe is a lie, Maverick. It wasn't used to start it. It was adopted by the Clintons to smear the campaign. Yes, the Clintons used it for opposition research. And like all politics, they used it to smear. And it's dirty. And the P-tape thing was unconfirmed. Yes, the Clintons did use it. Newsflash. People lie in campaigns. Donald Trump said that that fucking Ted Cruz's dad killed JFK. Yeah, people lie. He said that Obama wasn't born in the United States. It's what they do. It's gross. I don't like it. But that's not evidence that Trump's campaign didn't work with Russia, because they absolutely did. Chris said, in honor of Johnny. Thank you, Chris. All right.
As well. Senator, I did moots with Mr. Flowers and other people.
All right. About 10 minutes left, and then we're gonna run out of time, so I'll cover the rest tomorrow. I just want to show this exchange. This is just there's not a whole lot here, honestly, not a whole lot of good information, but I just want to show, and hopefully we can find some agreement here. Everything like these Senate hearings, we need to be clear on what they are. When people, this is Sean Duffy, he's the transportation secretary. When he's coming before the Senate, it's because they have oversight. They are his boss. They get to, in some ways, I guess, when it comes to his funding, they fund what he wants, and they can appropriate funds, and he is required to use the funds that they appropriate. Now, he has the ability to direct those funds a little bit differently, but if they appropriate money for a certain program, it's his job to then allocate those funds to that program. And he's here asking for more money. So just so we're clear on how our government works, let's leave the party politics aside here. The people that are talking to him are talking about the money that they're appropriating, because they've been elected by you and me to allocate this money. That's their job, and they have oversight over him. So if they ask him tough questions, he should answer those questions, especially when it comes to how money is being spent, how his time is being used, and potential problems with if he has conflicts of interest. That's their job. It's their role. And when you come before Congress and they ask you about a potential conflict of interest, you should answer that fucking question. Do we agree with that? Regardless of what party you come from, if you're in front of Congress and they ask you about conflicts of interest, do you agree that members of the executive branch who Congress has oversight of should answer questions that they're asked? I think we should all agree on that. This is Sean Duffy refusing to take accountability for his actions, refusing to address obvious conflicts of interest, and instead of taking responsibility, he's doing this thing that MAGA does, where they just deflect. Now, you can find instances similar to this from past administrations as well. I agree with that. But when we did it with past administrations, we talked about it then too. So for anybody who thinks this is just hyper-partisan, I'm just going to olive branch to MAGA here. Can we all end on a high note here and agree that what Sean Duffy does here is fucking pathetic, and that if we don't get back soon to a country where Congress, who has oversight, can do oversight, then we're fucked. Like, our votes don't fucking matter. Nothing we do or say matters. It's just like whatever president's in charge, they're the king now. If we don't fix this, whoever's president every time is just going to be the king.
Senator Gillibrand.
Thank you. So, Mr. Secretary, you and I have talked at length about your approach towards transportation. You want certain things out of different states in order to fund certain things. So you and I have talked about Second Avenue Subway. That's finally in compliance, and that is going forward. Right now, Gateway Tunnel is under review. What's the status of that review, and when do you think it will be completed?
So the resources are flowing to both of those projects. And, you know, we were doing a review on race-based contracting versus merit contracting. The Supreme Court indicated projects couldn't do that. And that happened during the shutdown. I only had one staff from the Civil Rights Office, so it did take more time. And then once the staff did come back, there was a backlog in the office. So, but the money is flowing to both of those projects. And Gateway is I think it's probably the biggest project in the Western Hemisphere.
Correct.
Awesome. See how he answered that question? See how easy that was? It was delayed. Where are we at? Can we get a status update? Here's why we were delayed. We only had one person on staff. Here's the answer. See how easy that is? Until you ask him for some accountability.
So when do you think the review will be done?
If not done now, shortly.
Shortly. Okay. I will hold you to that
There'll
short.
be no coming together. That's true, because MAGA always finishes too early.
Because obviously it is such an important economic project for the entire Eastern Seaboard and the entire nation. And we don't want more delays, because we know that when you have delays, costs increase.
Yeah, but it's not delayed now. Money is going to the project.
Okay. So now I want to talk to you about something that is less easy. I saw your ad. You want to go fast. I saw that. But I did not like the fact that you bragged about cutting funding to New York. That sounded like a political argument that is not a very nice thing to say about a state that has 20 million.
Saying MAGA is not partisan, because MAGA is not a party. MAGA is what I use to describe people who are sycophantic to Donald Trump. If you are not sycophantic to Donald Trump, if you don't believe everything he says and defend his every move, I'm not talking about you. Partisan would be Republican versus Democrat. I'm talking about sycophants. That's who I'm labeling as MAGA. So if that doesn't apply to you, then this isn't partisanship.
People that need to get to work every day on critical infrastructure. So I don't like that quote in your ad. I thought that was a very inappropriate thing to say. I also do not like your Great American Road Trip. And I get you have experience in that.
If you don't know what the Great American Road Trip is, over 7 months, Sean Duffy took his family on vacations that were paid for by companies that he has oversight with, like American Airlines. I can't remember. She'll name some of them. But he took a family vacation, and it was paid for 7 months. There was multiple family vacations paid for by people he has oversight. That's obviously a conflict of interest, right? Obviously, you shouldn't have somebody who, the transportation secretary, taking trips on the dime of the companies that he has oversight of. Obviously, everybody should probably be able to agree with that, right? Again, we're not playing whataboutism here. We're not saying that this hasn't ever happened before, but I think we would agree with that. And what's frustrating is how Sean Duffy responds to this.
I get you want to promote America and how beautiful and amazing it is. I get all the good reasons why you wanted to do that. And I get it's time with your family, all those things. I don't like it because right now in New York, people are suffering. They are extremely stressed out. They're stressed out about the cost of gas, which has gone up by 50% under this administration. They're upset about the cost of everyday household goods. They're upset about the cost of groceries and housing and healthcare. So their stresses. I don't think they're going to get to go on that great American vacation that they'd like to go on. I think a lot of families are not actually going on vacation this summer. And when I went and met with a bunch of gas stations across my state just a couple days ago.
Natalie said that the obstruction's crazy. Answer the fucking question. I think she's a little behind. That was from earlier. And Draco's Rose said, choo choo, so Jen doesn't yell too much. Have a good day. Thanks, Draco's Rose.
The cost of well over $4 a gallon in every gas station, $5 a gallon, over $6 a gallon for diesel. It's extremely stressful. And I don't like the fact that this Great American Vacation reality TV show took days and days of filming. I don't like the fact that it was paid for by companies that you have to oversee, companies that you work with.
Now, for the record, the last transportation secretary, the biggest criticism that he received was when he took time off because they had a child. And he was criticized heavily, which I don't think he would do if he wasn't a gay man, but they criticized him heavily for that. That makes sense, but that's not sponsored by a company that they have oversight with. I don't have a problem with Sean Duffy taking a vacation. I think that people, when they work, they get vacations. Pete Buttigieg had paternity leave. The problem here is not the vacation. The problem here is that these are funded by people he has oversight with.
And in our jobs, that would be pay for play. It would be 100% illegal. It would be inappropriate on every level and not tolerated. And in this era where
I want to add some nuance there because what she says is true. If she did that, that would be pay for play. And I want to be clear, like what the specific example is. her specific example, if you were going to draw a one-to-one comparison, would to be, say, like she had oversight between, let's just use American Airlines in the same way. And there was some legislation coming up about maybe a merger or something with American Airlines, or some sort of piece of legislation regarding safety standards. And American Airlines is like, hey, we just like you. We're going to send you, we're not going to give you any money, but why don't you come here? We're going to film a commercial, and you and your family can go on a trip to, over 7 months, we're going to take you on a bunch of family trips together. And we're not paying you. We're not buying you off. We just want to take you on these fun trips. That would be pay to play. That would be illegal as a member of Congress to do. So I just want that to be clear, that it's a one-to-one comparison when Sean Duffy starts playing whataboutism.
Trump's spending money building a golden ballroom that we don't need, that he's spending $1 billion a day on bombs that people.
Sorry, real quick. Sharon said, host, you Dems are the ass of all jokes. Your dad is the ass that I come into the most.
Far rather he be spending on healthcare or housing. This great American road trip, it doesn't smell right. It may be fast, but it's fast and loose with the rules. I don't like it. I think it's wrong. And I think you should explain to the American people why you should spend your time and why you should be getting a vacation that is paid for by companies that you regulate. I think those things are highly problematic, and it makes me extremely anxious because the American people, and New Yorkers in particular, probably can't afford their vacation this summer at all.
Real quick, hey, Howdy said, W. Johnny, congratulations. We're all so happy for you.
So I appreciate that, Senator. First off, in the ad, you said a lot. Can I unpack some of the allegations that you made? First, in regard to New York, we've asked for all states to revoke illegally issued driver's licenses. Every state has complied but New York. And we have tools to pull money from New York, and we did. California even complied.
But the point is, Mr. Duffy, Secretary Duffy, I don't mind that you have rules and that you have a different way of doing the Department of Transportation. What I mind is that you bragged about it and made a joke about it.
I'm also
it is not appropriate for a secretary to demean an entire state by that joke.
So we're going to give $8 billion to rebuild Penn Station. Is that a joke?
I love this. We are going to give $8 billion to rebuild Penn Station. Where does that money come from?
No, but
you'd welcome that, right? And I've asked for your subways to be cleaner.
With our tax dollars. Right. You got that money because we give it to you from New Yorkers.
And then we get a choice where to put it, and you give me that discretion.
We also appropriate money that then you don't grant. So we are the appropriators, not you.
No, I know you are.
This administration gets sued literally every single week because Congress appropriates money for specific programs, and this administration refuses to give that money to specific programs. If Congress appropriates that money, you have what's it called? The not emoluments clause. Somebody help me on the name of this. You have 60 days basically to send that money to where it's appropriated. Somebody help me on the word. I'm having a brain fart there. But yeah, they can't just not give the money if it's appropriated.
The money, you're supposed to spend it. Sometimes you choose not to, and we have to file lawsuits to get you to spend the money.
Want to make allegations? Can I respond? Do you want me to respond to, or just if you want to take all your time is up, but if you want to just sit and vent or want me to respond, you let me know.
Let's talk about the Great American Vacation.
The Great American Road Trip?
Yes, let's talk about that.
This was a project, Senator, and I want to encourage Americans to see their beautiful country. And as we can see from this hearing, there's a lot of partisanship in America. Seeing your country, experiencing your country through the window
Thank you. Impoundment. Appreciate that. It was the Impoundment Act. Thank you.
A car is a beautiful thing. It actually unites America. Maybe spending time with your children is a wonderful experience.
It is a wonderful thing. But your vacation was paid for by Boeing, Toyota, United Airlines, Enterprise, Shell, Royal Caribbean Group, Senator, organizations and companies.
Do you want me to respond to you? Can I respond?
But you're responding with platitudes, and it's not.
I'm telling you what the project was. Okay, 2 days, quickly in and out, and I did film the Great American Road Trip to encourage Americans to travel. I'll answer
2 days on each trip, by the way. It would be 2 days of filming for each trip.
So this was officially part of America 250. And you all sanctioned America 250. This is an official partner. No, it's an official partner of America 250. Also, this body told me that I'm supposed to promote tourism and travel, and that's what it does as well. Now, hold on a second. No, you're making
Then it shouldn't be paid for by people that you have oversee.
Can I respond to that?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize.
So if I could respond,
Mm-hmm.
this was a partnership with a nonprofit. It was a nonprofit, and the nonprofit
Funded by organizations and companies that you oversee.
Do you have jurisdiction over law firms? So you received $7 million in political contributions
God.
from the trial bar.
Honestly.
Uh-oh. He got the notes. Not going to answer the question. For the record, she does have jurisdiction over law firms. She can take political donations. I think that they shouldn't be allowed to take political donations. Hers is lawful. His is not. Yeah, he's got a burn book too. You saw him look down.
This has nothing to do with members of Congress. This has to do with the fact that you went on a paid vacation that was paid by companies that you oversee.
You received $7 million from the trial bar. You have jurisdiction.
Different.
You have jurisdiction on the trial bar. $7 million. When we go down the list of what else you received, you have jurisdiction.
Is he answering the question? Because this is the problem. This is the problem with our government. It's so fucking obvious that Sean Duffy shouldn't have taken this trip, these multiple trips. It is so fucking obvious that you can't use your role as a member of the administration to take free trips for you and your family, even if you say, oh, well, we filmed it to make a video encouraging people to travel. It is obvious that there is a conflict of interest there. And it might also be obvious that there's a conflict of interest in allowing campaign contributions, but those are allowed. So if you want to have this discussion, have that discussion, Sean Duffy, but could you answer the question? Now he won't answer the question. He's just going to go on the attack, and now we're mad. And he brought a whole bunch of pages worth of shit. Fucking pathetic what our country has become. And why is our country like this? Because we allow outside organizations to buy fucking everyone. And there's never been an administration like this one where it's just it's open season. Take as much money as you want. Take bribes, take vacations, do insider trading, go on Polymarket and Kalshi and rig those systems and just cheat. It's never been more corrupt. And I get it that some of you are Republicans. I get that you're conservatives. I get that you don't like Democrats. But like some things are bigger than policy. And this should be bigger than fucking policy. They aren't doing anything for you. Are you really going to sit back and continue to watch this shit happen at your expense just because it's not Democrats? Are you going to do this forever? Are we going to do this forever? We've had corruption problems for a while. But holy goddamn Christ, do we have problems now. The president has made like $6 billion fucking dollars since he's been in office. Obvious crimes, obvious insider trading, obvious bribes from foreign countries, obvious violations of the emoluments clause. They're not prosecuting crypto crimes. They're consistently pardoning fraudsters, Medicare fraudsters. At the same time, you guys want to point at the fraud that happened in California and Minnesota. Donald Trump is busy taking political donations and pardoning people who committed those exact same fucking crimes. And he's not requiring them to pay that back to the government or their victims. They're just off the hook. We can't, this is unsustainable. And we need you guys to wake the fuck up. Please, wake the fuck up. This is so goddamn pathetic. I'm getting so fucking tired of covering this shit every day. It's crazy. It's not I'm okay on the hard cutoff. Don't worry. I know I'm aware of what time it is. I'm fucking tired of covering this shit every day. You guys want to have a legitimate country? You want to have legitimate progress? You got to get rid of the fucking criminals. And until we start voting exclusively for people who are going to end Citizens United and get money out of government, this is what we're left with. You just got rid of Thomas Massie, Republicans. You got rid of one of like 4 people in your party who are against this type of corruption. The whole rest of your party is pro-corruption. The whole fucking thing. How is it that the only person in your party who stands against corruption became persona non grata? The only fucking one. I had to stomach every day like cheerleading Thomas Massie, and you ran that motherfucker out for Donald Trump because he had the audacity to say, hey, maybe we don't cover up the Epstein files. We will never get better until you demand something better from your people. I'm not here defending the Democrats. I'll defend the people who are advocating that we get money out of politics. Look it up yourself. Who is calling for ending insider trading and ending Citizens United? It's going to be all the people that you are told to hate the most. You should think about that. I was you. I was a conservative. I was a Republican. I find myself pretty far left these days. Why? Because they're the only ones. They're literally the only ones that are talking about real policy prescriptions that could make our lives better. Get rid of money out of the government. Let's get healthcare for people. Let's get education. Let's end a rigged system where all the money flows to the top. It gets so fucking tiring to have to watch this every single day. I'm good with overturning Citizens United. Maverick, what's more important than that? Any MAGA here can answer. Any Republican here can answer. Is there anything more important than getting money out of politics? Because if there is, I would love to hear it. Guys, I'm good. Please, I'm good on the time. I know what fucking time it is. I know what time I have to pick up my daughter. I'm good. We're good. What's more important than that? MAGA had literally started to weed out corruption. Who? Just Moss has almost 800 lawsuits now. Amy said, imagine how screwed red states would be if blue states stopped supporting them financially. Photo ID for in-person voting in federal elections. How's that more important, Maverick? How's that more important than getting money out of politics? That's crazy. You don't believe that. That's just what you're holding on to so you can keep voting for this party. You know goddamn well that's not more important. There's not even any evidence that voter ID will fix a single problem. All right. I'm going to end it there because we don't need to see Sean Duffy scream over her for the rest of the time. Please, can we get... No, it's not, Maverick. It's not more important to you. It's not. It's absolutely not. And if it is, it's because you don't understand it. There's almost no voter fraud. There's no way that that's a more important thing. All right. That's it. We'll be back tomorrow morning and every morning, weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, right here wherever you're watching. Let me check messages one more time. Sean, thanks for joining the Dollar Train. Looked like Jen was sending in a message, but I'm not sure. Jen, did I miss any?
No, I think you got them all.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning, every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, right here on YouTube or Twitch. Make sure that if you want to join us for our members-only event this next Wednesday, that you are a paid subscriber on either of them. And for all of our paid subscribers, thank you so much. For those who gifted subs today, too, thank you. If you were gifted a sub today, make sure you're in the Discord. You can actually join us and get in a free ticket to the members-only event and see if you like that. And later on, if you want to join us as a paid member, we welcome you. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. I know a lot of you guys are getting your kids back from school, ready for a summer vacation. I'm super excited about that. I'm so tired of getting my daughter ready for school every day and having that fight. So I'm looking forward to that. But until I see you tomorrow, take care of yourselves, take care of your friends and your families. Go outside and touch grass if you can't touch grass. Smoke grass if you can't smoke grass or touch grass. Good luck to you. Drink lots of water. Say nice things about yourself. And until I see you tomorrow, stay cute and cool and have a great summer.